Good afternoon, I'm Isaiah Jacob. The CBJ finished the season last night falling to the Washington Capitals 2-1. Rick Bowness was not happy with the Jackets in the postgame. He did speak on if he wants to return as coach next season.
We scratched the itch. I'm going to talk to Don, as we said from there, right? But I'm just saying the players were told tonight, if I'm back, we're changing this freaking culture. And we are. What do you got?
With 11 games left, the Jackets were second in the Metro, and after last night, they finished the season losing 9 of those 11. In more inspiring news, the Reds got a win yesterday, 2-1 against the Giants. They are back on tonight in Cincy at 6:40. This update was sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Nooner funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
All right, back at it. We're jam-packed. We are Rothman and Ice. Anthony Rothman, Matty Ice Hayes, and the loose cannon is behind the glass. Good to see you, fellas.
What up, what up? It is good to see you as well on a nice and warm hump day coming at us, man. How you feeling today? You good?
Outstanding.
Good.
Yes, I know that we all will unpack everything that's happened with the Jackets. We will do our final Hockey and Hounds this hour with Zach, as we'll wrap that up at 12:30. So don't miss that. In studio at 1 o'clock, expecting the former All-Pro tackle from the New England Patriots, Matt Light. And there are guys that talk the talk, he walks the walk. We'll have great stories from his Patriot days and then also talk about the great things that he is doing for the youth in our country, and certainly being an Ohio boy himself. This is close to home, so we'll have him in here at 1 o'clock.
Is he bringing the rings? And if he does bring a ring, do you think he would let me wear one?
Yes, I 100% would think he'd let you try it on.
Okay.
When you say wear it.
Yeah, like maybe just have it right here. A little drip on the hand right there, you know what I'm saying?
Put it on a chain.
I would love to feel what that's like, because some of these Super Bowl rings are incredible.
Most of these guys that have them don't wear them, but I would say he's got 3 of them, I believe, so maybe he could say, you're batting today, you're batting third today, and he could have that one. I don't know what year.
I think I'd have to throw one on every once in a while. Once in a while.
He's doing he's coming in here to do a little media type stuff and talk. Yes, he probably should accessorize that.
I just think like if I had the Masters jacket, a Super Bowl ring, a gold medal, every once in a while, you just got to put it back on to just, relive the moment. So hopefully he does it every once in a while, because it was an amazing career. Yeah, definitely looking forward to chopping it up with him about that and a lot of other things.
And then we'll float Schefty, as we do on a Wednesday to 2:30, ESPN Senior NFL Insider, and get his latest on the draft a little over a week out.
Real quick, AR, because we got the spring game coming up. Spring game's coming up this weekend, and Saturday, as I just mentioned, it's all popping in. The Fan has you covered. Join us Saturday morning at 10 for the Pelotonia Fan Tailgate Show, live from Fan Fest. My man, Anthony Rothman, Tim May, and Dave Biddle, they'll get you ready for kickoff. It's the Pelotonia Spring Game Fan Tailgate Show. Join the community passionate about ending cancer at pelotonia.org, and presented by KeyBank for every financial need. We'll meet you in the moment. KeyBank opens door. So AR, hey man,
looking forward to being out
going
there
on Saturday. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll feel like fall already, which I know you love. Just a fast forward spring and summer.
Let's get back to it.
All right, so this is what a lot of people want to hear, and yesterday, you and I talked a lot about the Jackets, and the result is the result, right? My only point yesterday was that I felt some people were missing the mark on just taking this season and tossing it amongst the rest. That was my big point yesterday. I think people missed the mark on that, and they took a season that was projected at 84.5 points, and since they didn't end on a heater like they did last year and they wilted to the finish line, I totally understand how disappointed it was for them and every fan that was involved, because they were in until they weren't, and maybe that was the big lesson, that they were never in. They were never in, and maybe they took it as they were in. I don't know. The league got harder. And my biggest point also at the end of the season was that I was surprised, and I'll Zach about this, when they got momentum at the end, whether it was beating Detroit or beating Montreal, they couldn't parlay that. Like there was something that they couldn't take the next step. And so last night for me was I don't want to say it was a glorified exhibition, but it was different than the year before. The Johnny year. That was different. They were on a heater at the end. They had dedicated their season to him and his brother. Like there was a real passion to finish that thing the right way. But they were out of it. They got close, but they went on that heater, and they're getting praised for ending the season that way, but they didn't get in because it was a different, more sentimental year. This year, the rug gets pulled out from the fans, and I think that was where the big emotion is, that this team completely failed at the end of the year. You can't lose your way in. They were 2-7-1. That's never going to get you in. But I think the same fans that were like going crazy yesterday about them not getting in were probably the same fans that might say, oh, what, one round is good enough? Like if they were gotten in and lost in round one, they would have been like, okay, we're going to celebrate that.
So they moved the goalposts on a little bit.
You just can't have it both ways. That's all I'm saying. And it was, I'm not absolving them of anything. They failed at the end of the year, and they're going to have to learn how to finish a season. And maybe it was the pressure. Maybe it were the other teams. Maybe it was the fact that they lost a couple guys or their identity got changed a little bit. They came out of the Olympic break, Bones did, saying this is going to get hard. Like it was. The league was going to get harder. It was going to be harder to score, everything. And here's my bet. My bet is that he started coaching harder later in the year when they hadn't gone through any losing streak. He inherited this team. They were winning. He didn't have to coach them hard. They were winning. Everything was great. Listen to his press conferences from a month ago, how great everything was, right? So what happened? And what happened in my mind is what happens in human nature. It wore off. It did. Eventually it does. Your team didn't go through it. And when they went through it, you didn't know how to get them back on track. Not untracked, on track. And the extra effort that didn't rise somewhere along the ending was true. Now, he took some shots last night, and you'll hear it. And I feel like this was very genuine. He was genuinely ticked off. But a month ago, he was praising them. So I think they're somewhere in the middle. And buzz phrases aside, like hate losing more than you love winning, and I think there's some human part of this, but here's Bones when he hit the podium last night and got very emotional about the ending.
Rick, you've been a part of a lot of games and a lot of seasons. Have you ever been part of something that's as frustrating as this has been down the stretch?
No. And you know what? I got to just look at the stat sheet. 3 hits. 23 giveaways. I don't know if I'm back, but if I'm back, I'm changing this culture. These guys, they don't care. Losing is not important enough to them. It doesn't bother them. How can you go out and play like that? Should have done this about a month ago. But this is why we are where we are. This is why we're out of the playoffs. That kind of effort. Losing, you have to hate losing. I don't care if it's a meaningless game. I don't care. Show up and compete. 3 hits, 23 giveaways. What else you want to know?
You reached them for so long after you got here. How did it stop? Where did it stop?
Because it got tough. Because it got hard. Like we talked about after the Olympic break. It's going to get harder. So everything's good as long as it's going their way. And now it gets tough, we don't want to battle back. And that's what's happened over the last a couple of weeks. That's all that's happened. We're going to change that. If I'm back, I don't know if I'm back. Don and I will talk. We'll get to that. But man, oh man, some of those guys are so lucky the season's over and there's no practice tomorrow. Anyways, there's no more games. What else you want to know?
I think even in the long history of this franchise, I don't think they've ever lost 6 games in a row to end a season at home.
No.
Is that worse?
It's terrible. Inexcusable. If they're not embarrassed by not only tonight, by that, they're on the wrong team. They are. They got to be embarrassed with that. Anything else?
It's a great soundbite. It is, and I think it's genuine. I think he was genuinely pissed off. I think he took it as a personal affront. I think he felt disrespected by his team last night. I think that he jumped on a moving train. They had this miraculous run. They failed. And I think he felt that they owed it to themselves and him to run through the tape. I think it's unrealistic. That team took a gut punch when they got eliminated. It's human nature. That team, think about this from a boxing standpoint. It's a 15-round fight, and you get knocked out in round 14, and somebody says, get up and fight 15th anyway. Like, I don't think it's realistic. I think it's ill-timed. I'm not saying it's wrong. He's right. He is, and he's genuinely mad, and I loved what he said. And I just think, first of all, you're never going to skate him to death anyway in the middle of a season. That's not going to happen, because then you'll lose him for 2 or 3 games. So this was on emotion. Mm-hmm. And when you get in front of a microphone emotionally, things can come out. And I love it. And I think the fans love it, because now there are only so many changes he'll be able to make. And you and I will discuss that next. But what did you think of his reaction?
I think it was a moment that's been brewing for a pretty long time now, because we've been coming in here after certain games throughout the skid. And, he's mentioned guys maybe skating and having their own agenda or not playing within the system. And I think he was trying to play nice with some of his comments publicly without doing that, because I think he was fearful that if he would have done that 2 or 3 weeks ago, then this thing had no chance of coming back together. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on reading the room and maybe understanding his guys and all of that stuff. But, yeah, I think it was a human moment for a guy that obviously out of the gate showed us that he had this type of fire in him with everything that he talked about. So this is no surprise now that the season is done. I've never really liked the threat from a coach, whether it's in season or whatever. Hey, I'm going to skate you to death, run you to death, whatever. I don't think that's really necessary, but he knows more about coaching than I do, but whatever. But yeah, I did not expect the guys yesterday to go out there and be at their best. It's human nature, man. The season's done. Yes, you wake up that day, you go to skate around, and we're not playing for anything.
You know what it was about? Ovi's last skate.
There you go.
It was a glorified exhibition game
exactly
for both
what
teams.
It was about.
Neither one of those teams are going to belt each other all night long to go into the offseason trying to either hurt themselves or injure somebody. And I'm not taking them off the hook completely. They're paid. The fans paid. But that's buyer beware, that game last night. Mm-hmm. It is. Mm-hmm. It was 81 and done, and they knew it. Yeah. Now, if he wants them to play that 80-second game like it meant if you win, you're in, and they didn't respond, then that's the kind of coach he is. And maybe that's the kind of player he wants. Yeah. And it's okay.
And I think now Don Waddell is going to have to be in a position to where what you saw down the stretch, do you have a feel on whether or not his voice is resonating with the team and will continue to resonate with the team? That's, I think, a real tough part about this equation, because the fire is still there for Rick. You just heard it, right? And he threw out the if, he'll be back, and Don and he will talk. But we'll talk to Z at the bottom, and I can't wait to ask him that specifically. Like, Rick's voice at a certain point in time, did that fall flat in that locker room?
I think that what I said earlier was I don't think he was coaching with that fire when he didn't have to when they were winning. I think when things started to teeter and he tried to get it back on track, it was a jolt that they couldn't respond to.
And that's a tricky thing maybe for a player to consume, right? It's like, wait a minute, this is a whole new guy. This isn't who you showed us to be right out of the gate. And now you're this guy, and that can maybe cause some friction.
Or it caused some sort of paralysis in the team. They did not respond. Yeah. I think you brought up something good about coming back. I think he definitely tipped his hand. What would change that? We'll talk about it next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? It's Matty Ice. Shed those winter blues and spring into a brand new 2026 Chevrolet Trax at McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. This month, you can lease a 26 Trax for as low as $179 a month for 36 months with $3,998 due at signing, or purchase for as low as $350 a month for 84 months with just $1,000 due at signing. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details. McDaniel GM Superstore just off Route 23 on 95 in Marion, or visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 on 1460 AM, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday morning at 9 on 1460 AM.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. As a longtime homeowner, I know how it goes when it comes to things that need to be fixed around the house and you just haven't gotten to them. Like maybe that leaky faucet that always has a drip. You think about it, but you never take care of it, and now it's just a part of the house. It's character. Maybe it's your windows that are always sticking and you can't get them open. So you just don't think about it. Who cares? Except now the weather's nice. You want to open the windows, and again, you can't because they're not fixed. Get new windows from Window Nation. They've made it easy to get top quality custom fit windows with their "the more you buy, the more you save" sale. You could save up to 50% off all your windows. Plus, you could get them with 0 interest for 5 years. Did you know investing in your home is actually one of the best investments you can make, especially in uncertain times? Experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. Energy efficient, beautiful windows from Window Nation with great deals going on now. Schedule your free consultation at windownation.com.
It's never a bad time to fire up the grill. At Billiards Plus, the grilling season never ends. While you're grill shopping, you'll love browsing Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
There's an old story about cat toys that's been retold for over 20 years because it perfectly explains who we are. This is Dennis Sullivan, president of Care Heating and Cooling. Years ago, a couple who shared their house with 3 cats had another company out to look at their furnace. After working on it, the technician said it was dangerous and had to be replaced. The couple called Care for a second opinion, and my dad Mike went out to help them. When he inspected the furnace, the cause of the problem became obvious. A cat toy had been stuffed into the heat exchanger. With the toy removed, the furnace ran perfectly. Now, how did the toy get there? You can decide for yourself, but here's what mattered then and still matters now. The first company paid commissions to their service techs to sell new furnaces. At Care, we pay our technicians to fix furnaces, not sell you a new one. And if a new furnace is needed, our team of replacement specialists will advise you on all options available and help you make your best choice. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING when you need a company you can trust.
This is Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel. If you're driving and take a quick glance at your phone, more can happen than you might think. Because taking your eyes off the road for even just a moment is like driving the entire length of a football field blind. Don't let those few seconds distract you from what's right in front of you. Phones down, eyes up, Ohio.
Ohio delivers elections you can trust through unparalleled accuracy. In every election, we feature a thorough bipartisan audit with a consistent 99.9% accuracy rate. Make your plan to vote at voteohio.gov. Absentee ballots must be returned by Election Day.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state. The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at onnradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network. Catch Ohio State baseball all season long on The Fan 2. You can find the magical land of The Fan 2 by tuning into 1460 on your AM dial or clicking on The Fan's HD2 feed. Tyler Danberg thanks you. Your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly sunny skies for us today with highs in the mid-80s and breezy winds. And then as we head into the evening, we'll see chances of showers and storms develop, some which could be on the stronger side. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with lows in the 60s. We will see storms and even showers possible the second half of your Thursday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with highs around 80 degrees. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Bobby Carpenter demands that you watch Morning Juice on YouTube. If you don't, Tito will move into your house.
Live at 6 a.m. on YouTube and streaming on the Fan app.
Matty was a big Browns fan. Scratch that, we mean he's a big fan of the former Browns. Oh, yeah. The Baltimore Ravens. This is Rothman Ice.
Yeah, I mean, it's our job is to play hockey, and we love to play in front of our fans and play at home. And so, we owe it to our fans to go out there and give our best effort to try to win this hockey game. And so, as far as it wasn't tough at all. It's tough not being in a position to, if you win the game, to move on. But just the whole atmosphere here, not tough at all.
Well, clearly the coach thought it was. Cole Sillinger there on playing the last game and on knowing they were already eliminated. And it's just not human nature. It's just not. Washington took it the same way the Jackets took it. That wasn't going to be an off-the-charts physical game last night. It wasn't going to be played like it was a playoff game. Their season was done. And I know why he did it. He did it I don't know if he planned on doing it, Matty. But because I think he truly felt it. You could see it. There's not a human being alive that would say that was orchestrated.
Sounded like he was fighting back tears and not like because he was sad. I know people that when they get angry, they cry. Yeah. Like I've had friends that I grew up with that are like that. And that's kind of what it sounded and felt like to me with Rick, just blowing a gasket the way that he did.
He didn't even get a first full season. So his evaluation of this organization and this team happened on what he got. And I think what he did at the podium last night was real. But it wasn't necessarily real because Game 82 meant the world. It was that if I can't establish consistency and compete level every single night, then I've failed as a coach. And I think that's what he felt last night. My own personal feeling. Part disrespect and part that I couldn't get them to run through the tape for me. And that's the only way that they're going to get to the next level. I remember when, at the end of Seth Jones' first year, Torts traded Johansson. They traded Johansson, and Seth comes in. There was a big, big talk here amongst guys that watch hockey and talk hockey that would you trade a great centerman for a defenseman, and does it start from the back out and all that? And I remember Torts saying, I can say it now, this wasn't on, but this was about if a guy doesn't hit the ice going right away, I got a problem with that. And I think Jonesy was one of those guys that maybe took him a while to kind of work his way into a game. And at the end of his first year, the evaluation year, which I think this was for Bones, because you could hear it in his voice.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm back, this is going to change, that's going to change. Now, there's only so many changes you can make. And the only reason that I think would be holding him back from not coming back, as I interrupt my own story, is that if he sits down with Don and Don says, this is the team you're going to ice. And he says, well, no, I need this, this, and this, or I need this guy. Like, that's why they have to sit down. I think Bones wants to come back, and certainly Don wants him back. But back to my story. So when Jones didn't hit the ice going, he had a bad first period, and Torts sat him. And it was embarrassing for Jonesy. And he admitted, I believe, that he wasn't playing well, but that maybe it was good for him. And Torts said, I don't care. If you're not playing like that for me. And it set a certain agenda. And I think that what he did last night was draw a line in the sand for whatever team's coming back, that this camp, the first full season I'm going to have, and the camp, that you better treat this summer differently. And so I think he's been around so long. He's been with great organizations, Tampa, Dallas. Like, he's been around. He is a smart dude. And he's got what most coaches love to have, not coaching scared. He's at a point in his career where there's no reason to coach scared. And there's only so many changes you can make, and it's not the young guys. It's not silly. It's not Matejchuk. He's looking at some veterans, and when he's pointing the finger. And I think establishing consistency, Torts got him to the next level after he did that. And I think the first full camp, they were frightened. They all knew, they were prepared. They all went through it together, which matters. But he won't inherit a team next year. He will be here if they work it out. And I think that's part of what happened last night was that crap isn't going to fly, even if it's in Game 82 with an E attached to it.
You know how we talk about sometimes coaches can send messages through the media to their players? I also think coaches can do that to the front office as well. And when Rick Bowness yesterday takes to the podium and calls out guys because they don't care about losing and it's not important to them, that to me is him letting Don Waddell and the higher-ups know there are certain guys that I don't want to coach. If you want me back, these guys can't be here because I don't want to come into this building all the time with guys that don't have the desire and care in his mind whether we win or lose. And if you're one of those guys, and I'm sure at this point they probably know who they are, you got called out yesterday. That's one of the worst things I think an athlete can hear. That you don't care whether we win or lose. You're just here to get a check. That's not what he's saying. But I read into it that way, or where he's drawing a line in the sand saying, you want me? I don't want to coach these guys because I don't want the culture I'm trying to build. I don't think those guys are going to buy into it. And I think that was another part of what I heard too, is calling guys out for not caring about losing. And I don't know if that was just a reactionary, over-the-top moment from just last night, or he's been monitoring that along the way and realizing some of the building blocks he wants to work with next year and some of the guys that he does not want to be here.
I think he monitored it, Matty, when they were going through the rough spot. And I remember saying to you that he's learning a lot more about his team now than he did when they were winning.
Absolutely.
A lot more.
Yeah.
How people handle adversity is the biggest test of character and effort.
It's like a relationship, right? Things are great in the honeymoon phase. Oh, of course. We can do this forever. That first argument or two comes up. How are you guys going to handle that and get through it? And I think you're right. That's what he was looking at, and he doesn't like how some of those guys are wired over there. We don't know.
How they responded to whatever his coaching style changed when things were going bad. Now, he admitted he probably should have had this type of conversation a little bit ago, but they caught a little fire with Detroit and then a little fire with Montreal, and they're trying to ride this into a playoff berth, and they couldn't do it. This is about summer prep. I think everybody's on guard now, and that's good. I think you saw an opportunity. I don't think Torts was planning on sitting Jonesy that night. I know for a fact he wasn't, but it happened, and he saw an opportunity. And I think last night, Bones, the only thing that would keep him out of this in my mind, because last night was emotion. It was real, but it was emotion. If he wakes up in a week and says, you know what, that took way too much out of me, meaning like it just took too much out of me. And that would be a situation because he was all tanned and rested and ready to go. And now he's been doing it for a while. If you and I left this job and went to the beach for a year, guess what would happen? We might be ready to talk again. Right? And so I think that'll happen. Don Waddell quickly was on T-Bone and Tybus this morning, and T-Bone asked him about how he views his head coach.
Yeah, from my end, obviously I will meet with my boss and people above me once I have that conversation with Rick. But from my end as the general manager, watching the work that he put into this and how he got this team going, I support it 100%.
There is a 5% chance to me that he's not back. The only thing that changes it for me, I'll say it again, is if Bones wants to make changes that Don doesn't want to. Or reverse.
They don't have the same vision.
That they don't have the same vision. Because at the end of the day, the head coach is the guy that makes a decision to play them. And if Don gets him a player or wants to get rid of this guy or get that guy, Bones doesn't care how much he costs. Like when if he went to get Garland, of course, get him. Yeah. Like, I think that's how these conversations happen.
You have to have both parties together. Like an example of this happened in the NBA. Michael Malone, new North Carolina head coach. Calvin Booth, a guy that was from Columbus. He was the GM. He drafted players Michael Malone did not want to coach, and that's why they went south over the last couple of years. And so that just cannot be a thing, because then you're doing everybody a disservice.
2 minutes. Zack Werenski, final Hockey and Hounds of the season. Don't go anywhere. Rothman Ice on the Fan.
Coffee, sandwich, hash browns. Tired of the same breakfast routine? Time to refresh your morning ritual with the $6 Tim's Trio from Tim Hortons. It starts with a premium blend of freshly brewed coffee, a hot, savory breakfast sandwich made with freshly cracked eggs, and for a tasty twist, a daily baked donut to sweeten the deal. Ask for the $6 Tim's Trio. Your morning ritual refreshed. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer. Medium coffee only. Terms apply.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good. This spring, take a break from interest with 0% financing for up to 60 months on new 2026 Tucsons. 0%. Go now, Columbus or Dublin or GLakesHyundai.com. With Crew Credit ends 4/30.
Hey, it's Austin Ward. Listen to The Beat with Austin and Byrne, now powered by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Get the latest Buckeye news, insights, and unbeatable analysis every day. Don't miss a moment. Stream The Beat with Austin and Byrne, sponsored by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
There is nothing more meaningful you can do for yourself, your family, and friends than finally getting rid of that pain so they can enjoy that time with you again, especially heading into vacation season. Here, let me help you. It's Bobby Carpenter, and Dr. Tesler and his team at QC Kinetics take care of your pain in the office so you can go right along with your day. It's that easy. So if you say yes to any of these questions, you're the kind of patient QC Kinetics regenerative treatments can help every day. I have consistent pain in my joint, knees, hips, shoulder, back. Pain keeps me from getting a good night's sleep. I'm missing work or saying no to things that I love. I don't want surgery or a long-term recovery. I am at the end of my rope, and taking medications every day is just going to get me through the day. I don't want to do it anymore. So if you want to do that, go check out your free consultation over with my friends at QC Kinetics in Dublin or Gahanna. Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. They have offices in Dublin and in Gahanna.
Rothman Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
You'd think that dog conversation wouldn't necessarily blend with hockey talk. And you'd be wrong. You idiots! Like a fine wine and dark chocolate, it's going down smooth. Rothman and Ice present Hockey and Hounds.
Sponsored by Telhio Credit Union, helping hounds find a home and helping you finance yours. Get the best rate from Telhio's mortgage experts. Find out more at telhio.org.
Now joining the boys, the lead dog on the blue line, Zack Werenski.
We've had a lot of great chats with Z over the season. This one will probably be the toughest, but we welcome him back on, of course, to do our wrap-up and what turns out to be kind of a post-mortem on the season, Z. But we welcome you back, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, tough day. I think everybody understands that. But let's zero in at least on, what your head coach said last night. I know you've already commented on it, but I'll ask you about it. When he said losing doesn't bother them, how did you take that? Was that real or was that just emotion from him?
I don't know. I feel like I don't want to speak on his behalf. I know as players, how we feel about it is different than what he said. I made a comment today that we need to learn to win, and I feel like we haven't been there. We haven't been in that position enough, and I feel like it's not the hatred of losing. Like, I feel like we all feel that. It's just understanding situations and circumstances and the time of the year. And, it's hard. I'm at a loss for words for it, to be honest, because I know how I feel about it. I know how most guys in that room feel about it. We definitely hate to lose. I don't think that's right, but I also do think it's just bones in the moment being emotional. So it's a tough one for sure.
So, Z, you being one of the leaders of this team, I'm sure guys come to you for a lot to express how they feel. Have guys been expressing to you over the last 12 hours or whatever it may be that they've been offended by that comment from him?
We've talked about it. I haven't talked to all the guys since I came out. I was with a few guys last night, talked to some guys this morning. I think the main thing is, we all know that, Bones cares deeply about our group, cares deeply about the guys. He wants the best for us. He's a great hockey coach, and we love playing for him. And that's the first thing I want to start off with, too, is, we love Bones. And it was phenomenal playing for him this year. I'm not sure if he'll be back or not next year, but as a group, we really enjoyed what he brought to our team and how much he helped us. And there's no drama or riff there. Obviously, it sucks, reading that. I had a conversation with him on it today on how I felt about it, and I'll keep that between us. But guys, this is all we care about. Outside of our families and health and all that, this is it, right? I've been here for 10 years, and I care about the Blue Jackets more than anyone. More maybe besides Booner, who's been here 3 years longer than me. And it's definitely tough when you read that, but I do think it's just emotions and in the moment. And we have a great deal of respect for Bones, and it's just a tough situation for sure.
Zack Werenski with us, Hockey and Hounds, brought to you by Telhire Credit Union. When things got difficult, did he coach harder? Did he coach differently? And do you think that it was a tougher response because you had not gone through it yet with him as a team?
I think it was I feel like what makes Bones such a great coach is he understands how to communicate to guys, and I feel like he knows when to push certain buttons. He knows when to, show certain clips. So I don't think it really got harder, I would say. I mean, I think meetings and coaching always get harder when you're losing. Like I was talking to him today, and we're talking about video, and I was like, it's always easier to watch video when you're winning. Like it's human nature. The vibes are higher, the clips are better. Even if they're bad clips, you won the game, so it just doesn't feel as bad. So I feel like he might have been coaching harder on us, but there was definitely more to coach, right? We weren't playing as well. We weren't winning as many games. But guys were responding to it. I mean, guys were all bought in. We just couldn't get it done, and it sucks. I mean, no one feels worse than the players. So, it just was really, really tough there.
Was it surprising to you, because it was to me, that when you caught a little fire at the end and rescued the game at Detroit and won at the Bell Center, that you couldn't parlay that into another win, the key win that would have got you in? Because it felt like you caught a little bit of momentum and then it wasn't sustainable. Is there a common denominator there at all for you?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like if you look at a lot of our losses down the stretch, a lot of it came down to putting the puck in the net. There was the odd game where we gave up too many goals, but you look at that Boston game, it's 2-2 in the third, and I think Schefty had 30 shots and 2 goals, and they had 15 shots. You know what I mean? I just felt like down the stretch, and we weren't getting the goal scoring we were getting when we were on that crazy run of winning. I don't know if that was guys putting pressure on themselves. I know I wasn't producing like I was. A lot of guys were, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's no real common denominator. I feel like we've played the same way. We approached it the same way. We upped our intensity. Just couldn't get those, whether it was timely goals or couldn't get a lead big enough. It's hard. I mean, I really can't put my finger on it, to be honest.
Oh, it's all good, Z. I know there's been a lot going on here recently. I did want to ask you, though, about now Jet Greaves and the belief you have in him moving forward to be the guy in net, because obviously we see the talent, Z, but you're around him. You know how he's wired, but then you're seeing the results as well. So I know that's going to be an interesting situation to see what type of contract could be on the way for him, but just talk about your confidence in him being your teammate now moving forward for years to come as the guy in net.
Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, we saw it last year at the end of the season, but to see it for a full year this year, he's insane. He's one of the best goalies in the league. I think his analytics back it up. We obviously see it daily, how he prepares, how he plays. He doesn't really have off nights. He's so dialed in, and he's a huge reason why, even down the stretch when we were struggling, we were still in a lot of games. And I'm just a big fan of Jet. I think he prepares the right way. He's a great teammate. He's a great guy to have around, and he's the guy moving forward. So just very happy for him.
You've embraced the leadership role. We've watched it over the years, watch you grow into maybe the best defenseman in the league, and certainly I hope you get awarded that this year. And now you're going to an offseason that is, obviously we can hear it in your voice, you're deflated and dejected, but is there another level that you feel like you need to be a voice in that room, or dare I say a captain? Is there something that you feel like this offseason will become clear for you on steps you'd like to take with this team?
I think every offseason you reflect on the year. I haven't got there yet. I will in the next few weeks. I'll reflect on the season. I'll reflect on what went wrong at the end. I'll reflect on where I'm at, what I think I can do better, where our team's at. And I'll kind of go through that whole process at some point here. I really haven't thought too much about it. Obviously, I'm just really disappointed, down the stretch that I couldn't help the team more. I take great pride in being a Blue Jacket, and like I said, I've only known this team. It's all I've cared about. When me and Booner were around when everyone was leaving, and we care a lot about having success here and delivering for these fans. And it sucks. I get emotional thinking about it, to be honest, because it's like I said, it's all we think about. And But yeah, we'll revisit it and we'll think about it and look ourselves in the mirror and see what we can do better, and we'll go from there. But it's definitely a little too early to maybe answer that.
Yeah, I understand that. We've done a lot this year, the three of us together, as far as talking hockey and then trying to showcase animals in need. We both love them, and I feel like very proud of it and proud that you wanted to be a part of it. And the final dog that I'll pitch, at least for now, for the three of us, is Brody. Brody is from New Albany Pet Rescue, a foster-based rescue, and he's a big, sweet old couch potato, about 3 years old, 3 to 4, and he had a bad life. I'm not going to lie. He was rescued. He was, he was living a life on a chain, and that's no way to live. And as sad as that is, and as inhumane as that is, he didn't let it affect his personality. And he's got a charming way about him, a friendly guy, just like a will you take me home kind of guy. And he's sweet, he's independent, loves to be near his person. He's friendly with everybody he meets. He likes to follow people from room to room and going on walks and enjoying the outdoors. And right now he's in foster, but we really want to get him a permanent home. He's got a really solid temperament. He's good around kids. He's lived with a 10-year-old. He's a big boy. He weighs about 80 pounds, but he's food motivated just like me, and he's crate trained, so he's a good boy. And Brody rides well in the car. He's working on other basic obedience stuff and leash manners. But if you're interested, we had his picture up now on the YouTube, but it's napetrescue.org, napetrescue.org, or get with me and we'll connect you with Brody. But we've got a lot of dogs into some good homes, or even if we just put the cosmic positive energy out there, because we're not taking credit for it. Part of this is just getting some positive stuff out there, and hopefully that somebody was listening when you and I were talking about it on a certain day. Maybe they weren't normally in the car, or they're not normally in the car right now, and they're listening and say, you know what, I was thinking about a dog, and maybe it was meant to be that I was meant to hear about Brody. So napetrescue.org is the guy, and we thank you so much for everything you've done and wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. It's been a blast. Hopefully we can find Brody a home and just keep the good news moving forward. So thank you for everything.
Thanks. Good luck to you and Odette. This is a big spring. I know you had your focus on the playoff, but you're going to be a dad soon, and we've got great heartfelt emotion for you and being such a big part of our city and this show. I can't thank you enough, my man. Good luck with everything.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Z. All right, there's Zack Werenski, Hockey and Hounds, brought to you by Telhio Credit Union. There's not enough I can say about him and Telhio, but I'll say it because he probably wouldn't want me to, but I'll say it anyway. So I was over there the other day and kind of doing our final thank you and presenting the check, and we wound up raising a lot of thousands of dollars, for dog shelters and animal shelters and rescues around this city. And so we get in there, and we've got the Happy Gilmore check from Telhio Credit Union because they are the team that gets the funds. And he probably wouldn't want me to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. So he looks at it, and he says, Anthony, I want to match that. And it's the first time, I've seen a guy do that, out of the blue. Mm-hmm. And it's not anything that I'm sure he really would want me, but I think it's deserving.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it was meant for anything other than that he feels it too. So thank you to Telhio Credit Union. Thank you to Zach, to Damon Severson, who unfortunately got injured, Fabs, who jumped on, and the Blue Jackets themselves for helping coordinate a lot of the times and movements and coaching changes and practice schedules. And these guys want to be a part of it, and it makes me very proud of it. So I wanted to tell that story.
And you should be proud, and I'll echo everything you said about the thanks and just to everybody just to give us their time, especially the guys, right, where their schedule is just action-packed, and proud of what you've built, man, because I remember from day one when you ran this idea by me years ago, and to see what it's blossomed into is awesome. So congratulations to you, and a big thanks to everybody that's involved. It's been a great ride.
Everybody from Torts, who helped me start it, from Coach Lars, who continued it, from JD, who kept it going, to the players, to the organization that's helped me keep the platform moving along. So we'll come back And we've got a prediction. It's a football prediction from one of our own. We'll see if you agree with it. Next, Rothman Ice and the Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman. Have you lost your energy? Not feeling it in the bedroom anymore? It could be your testosterone. Even if you're a woman, testosterone controls energy, confidence, and sex drive for both men and women. So find out if your testosterone is unbalanced. Find out now for free. Synergenics and Low T Center are offering free testosterone testing for both men and women. Stop by or book today at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com. Tell Ohio Credit Union Business Banking is there whether you need a loan to grow your operations or cash flow solutions to keep things moving forward. Real talk about what matters to your business. Visit tellohio.org/business.
Certain restrictions apply. Telhio is open to all in Central and Southwestern Ohio. Federally insured by NCUA.
It worked once, so we're doing it again. Sign up now for the Fan 5K, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. We're back at Otterbein on Saturday, June 20th. Walk a mile with the Common Man, jog a 5K with T-Bone, or try to beat Tyvis in a 40-yard dash. Tyvis won't stretch, so there's a chance he pulls something. The fun starts at 8 a.m. Saturday, June 20th. Register today and earn a sweet medal, race T-shirt, and a photo op at the finish line. Sign up at 971therace.com. Prepare your tightest running clothes, and we'll see you at the Fan 5K on June 20th.
It always seems to happen at the worst time. You're finally in bed after a long, hard day, and then you hear it. You sit up, heart sinking. Is that coming from the ceiling? All of a sudden, it's a middle of the night flashlight hunt to find the leak. But don't worry, Newman Roofing has you covered, literally. With more than 3 decades in the business, we've seen just about everything a storm can throw at a roof. Our teams know how to spot the problem, explain your options, and fix it right the first time, with craftsmanship and care you can feel good about. We're not just here for a quick patch job, and we never will be. We're here to make sure your home stays protected season after season. So when it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, choose the company you can trust, Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
I started my first business when I was 12, mowing lawns for about $5 a yard. I learned if you do the job right, people trust you and customers care that you show up and do what you say you're going to do. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Doors. From garage door repairs to upgrades, we show up, we stand behind every job. We only use the best parts, and spring's guaranteed to last a lifetime. When you care about the people you serve, you work harder and it shows. Call Don's Garage Doors today or schedule online at donsgaragedoors.com.
When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more.
Spring is here, and there's no better place to make memories than the Columbus Zoo. See tigers up close, watch playful otters, and see the baby elephants in action. For a limited time, take advantage of our Zoo After 2 p.m. deal. Plan your adventure at columbuszoo.org.
For over 78 years, our family's been part of your love stories. At Diamond Seller, we offer bigger diamonds, better prices, and timeless designs for every chapter of your life. From your first yes to your forever I do, trust the jeweler who knows diamonds best. Visit Diamond Seller today.
Tax time is here, folks. That refund burning a hole in your pocket? Or maybe you're just ready for something bigger, tougher, more you? Head to Capital Ford in Whitehall and drive home in a brand new F-150, Explorer, Bronco, or Mustang with incredible tax time savings. Right now, get 0% APR for up to 60 months on select models, plus qualified buyers can defer payments for up to 90 days. At Capital Ford, you'll find great rates, flexible terms, and approval power that get you behind the wheel fast. Visit CapitalFordColumbus.com today. See dealer for details. Not all buyers qualify.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
We at The Fan have created a show where you can be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Sunday mornings at 8.
It's the Fan Call-In Show, presented by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Anthony once got Jack Nicklaus to quote the movie Caddyshack. So he's got that going for him.
Well, the last time I saw a mouth like that, I had to hook it.
Which is nice. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Let's go while we're young.
And what else is nice is top of the hour. Matt Light, Tom Brady's protector. For a lot of years. Kid from Ohio. Went to Purdue. Somehow escaped the scarlet and gray. Don't know how. We'll ask. Maybe he was a late bloomer. Maybe they didn't believe in him. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe he's been making them pay ever since. So Matt Light will be in studio here, and we'll do a lot with him top of the hour. So our friend Tyvis Powell, he certainly is part of the orange and fudge team, right? He likes the brownies.
It's a squad.
Sure, that's his.
Absolutely.
He likes the gear. He likes the colors. Was this on T-Bone and Tyvis this morning where he got this feeling?
I'm going to guess this is from, because I don't hear Bone or Dylan interjecting, so I'm going to assume this is Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Yeah, I said to Maddie, like, I don't know, it was maybe a week and a half ago, I said, like, I'm more into the Browns trap. I'm starting to move into, I just want to be their advocate and say, like, this would all be about Brook Park for me. Okay. Like, in the next 3 years or whatever the thing's built, like, have everything going towards that. A new era of Browns football, and you're off the lake, you're going inside. Like, it's a different era. And I don't, listen, the quarterback's going to be the key on whether they have one or can find one. And so, but I was all about, like, yeah, you could get a great player at 6, but, man, I like the ammunition. And now, if there's a great player, you don't want to just say that some random pick is going to equal that guy. And that's what I think these GMs struggle with. But I was kind of into trading the pick if the opportunity comes up, and to continue to stockpile, maybe move down the first round or move down a little bit. I was talking about maybe the Cowboys. I think he was talking about the Cowboys. Like, maybe you just went from 6 to 12. Like, if you feel like, now, if you're hell-bent on, we got to have Carnell Tate, then, of course, you're not moving it. You have to have Sonny Styles if the board falls your way, or we're going to stay there and hope the Giants don't take him, and then we'll take him. Like, okay, I get that. But he was talking about how he feels like, I don't know, he's got great optimism about the Browns. Where this comes from, I don't know, but we'll hear it.
My take is that the Browns will win the division this year. This is why I say that. All right, y'all would admit that there was 3 coaching changes in the AFC North, right? And y'all will admit that typically when you get a new team and a new coach, there is a period where people have to buy in. You gotta test this coach out. You gotta understand if this is the right guy. Am I gonna follow this guy, right? And I think, looking at Todd Monken and looking at where the Browns is and how they are building their roster up this offseason, they're really trying to get back to the trenches.
Offensively?
Let me ask you guys this, because I know on T-Bone and Tyvis, TLC, I'm pretty sure on Tuesdays they have a segment that's dedicated to hot takes. Was this a take that was dropped yesterday on that show? Because when he started with my take,
maybe
my mind went to the segment that they do a spicy take on Tuesday. That was his. That maybe he doesn't really believe that, but he was coming to the place swinging with that one this week.
Prediction kind of feel. Yeah. All right, so the only way to get there in my mind then is to make that pick. I don't think, like, if they trade the pick, I'm not. Who's picking them to win the division? This is the worst passing offense in the league, not the division, the league, and their rushing offense is atrocious. So now their defense is fine. I mean, everybody likes number 1 pass defense, the top 10 rushing defense. Like, I assume he's talking about the trenches offensively. I do feel like Monken has some old school feel and bring it back in. We don't know what Pittsburgh's going to do with their quarterback. Cincinnati, we assume, is going to be back. I don't think I'd pick him over Cincinnati right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not picking him over your Ravens. So I agree with you. It was probably more of a bold prediction. But my prediction on his prediction is his prediction doesn't even come close if they don't make that pick.
Yeah, and they did some good things last year with what they did in the draft. I think we all got to respect that, but it just feels like they're still a year away from being in the mix. And even with the coaching changes that he's talking about around the division with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and especially in Baltimore's case, you're starting out of the gate with star power at the quarterback position, and then down there in Cincinnati, they're coming back with chemistry, at least on one side of the ball with Joey B and Zach Taylor. So just the starting points for the other teams, I feel better about right now than where Cleveland is. Now, Andrew Berry cooks the way that he did, in another offseason, another draft like he did last year, then you're a step closer. But I don't think anybody's really going to be picking the Browns with a lot of conviction until they have a guy under center that they truly believe in. And right now, that's just still a question mark for the Dog Pound.
Yeah. Bold. I mean, my prediction is that maybe they could get there in a few years.
That's what it feels like, right?
They got to hit. They got to hit on the quarterback.
No question.
Either Deshaun of the dead comes back, And Night of the Living Divot, he comes back.
There's going to be a lot of wrist up. One of the two.
But something has to happen.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming back top of the hour. A guy that might have a take on that, because he went through a quarterback change that turned out to be the greatest quarterback change in maybe the history of the league, is Matt Light. He'll join us in studio next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
T-Bone and Tyvus are everything you want in a delicious breakfast. Lots of empty calories, no nutritional value.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The weather in Central Ohio just got better, so why shouldn't your loan rate? CME Federal Credit Union wants to try to beat your current loan rate by 2% on autos and toys. Plus, enjoy no payments for 90 days on car loans and no payments for 60 days on motorcycles, boats, and more. With car rates as low as 4.99% APR and toy rates starting at 6.5% APR, it's the perfect time to save. Apply today at CMEFCU.org. Terms apply. Minimum floor rates 4.99% APR cars, 6.50% APR other vehicles. Federally insured by NCUA.
Listen up, Columbus. Before you buy or lease a new Honda, see Lindsay Honda first. For a limited time, every new Honda includes a complimentary gift. Choose a KitchenAid stand mixer, a 75-inch high-def TV, or a zero-gravity massage chair when you buy any new Honda. Plus, drive a new 2026 Civic Sport, just $199 a month, or a 2026 CR-V LX, just $279 a month.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
During the Honda Spring Event, see lindsayhonda.com for details.
I love Right Pack Credit Union because they're solution driven. I feel valued as a member.
They're focused on the latest technology and the personal connections.
Experience benefits that go beyond banking with Right Pack Credit Union. Just ask our actual members.
I definitely recommend Right Pack to all my family and friends as a credit union of choice.
Visit one of our Columbus area Right Pack Credit Union member centers near you. Based on individual members' experiences, results may vary.
Enjoy more ways to save at Kroger, like low prices in every aisle. And you can clip and save more with digital coupons in the Kroger app. Plus, you can earn fuel points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. So it's always easy to save big. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply. See site for details.
Kroger makes it easy to save on fuel. Just redeem the points you've earned to save up to $1 a gallon at the pump. See store for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Working your way through that home projects list, that means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your air conditioner or furnace. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain issues? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing problems? Call the Waterworks. HVAC breakdowns? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted and certified plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. April's the perfect time to reset your home for the long run, and Universal Windows Direct makes that decision easy. Right now, when you buy 2 windows, you get 2 free, and there's no limit. The more you upgrade, the more you save. Plus 24 months with no payments and no interest. And if you need some more, how about a $500 bonus off your home improvement project? Schedule your free estimate today. Call 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
When you saw your heating bills this winter, did you think this is out of control? The problem is your house is leaking money, and the only thing higher than your heating bills are your cooling bills. Steve here from USA Insulation. Let us fix your energy bill problem for good. If you aren't foam insulated, you really aren't insulated. For $99 a month, interest-free, we'll foam your home and help cut those energy bills. 529-2440 or USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons, and you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville in Raymond for all your Kubota needs. James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons, and you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville in Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone here for Window Nation. Spring has arrived, and it'll be a great time to open your windows. But, oh, wait, your windows don't open easily. They leak when it rains. They've got cracked glass. They need repainting again. Ugh, getting top quality custom fit windows from Window Nation, that's easy and affordable. Right now, during the More You Buy, the More You Save sale, you could save up to 50% off
all your windows. Plus, you could get them with 0 interest for 5 years. During uncertain times, one of the best investments you can make is in your home. Experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. With Window Nation, you'll get windows that easily slide open and closed. They are made with top quality seals so they won't leak when it's rainy or windy. And unlike other windows, they're maintenance free. They're so good, Window Nation stands behind them with a lifetime warranty. And they're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Save big with Window Nation's The More You Buy, The More You Save sale. Going on now. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com for your consultation.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good afternoon, I'm Isaiah Jacob. The Blue Jackets finished the season last night, falling to the Washington Capitals 2-1. In what could have been Alex Ovechkin's final game, he recorded 1 assist. In MLB action, the Reds got a win yesterday 2-1 against the Giants. They are back on tonight in Cincy at 6:40. The Guardians fell short to the Cardinals 6-5. A Juan Brito error in the 9th on what should have been the final out of the game allowed the Cardinals to rally back and win in the 10th. Gardo's manager Stephen Vogt commented on the play by Brito.
Keep your head up. It happens. Gotta work and get better. Keep playing. He's going to keep playing. Tough lesson for him, but I talk all the time about things that shouldn't or couldn't or can't happen, but they do. Kid's in his 6th game in the big leagues and had a tough play.
They will continue the series today. First pitch coming up at 1:15. This update was sponsored by Germain Toyota. For unbeatable service and sales, visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road or online at germaintoyota.net.
Want to jinx your favorite sports team?
Please get out of my Van Halen t-shirt before you jinx the band and they break up.
Just ask Maddie to print your shirts. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Oh, we just got a little beef here in studio. The man who anchored the left side of the O-line for the entire 11-year career with the Pats, 11 straight winning seasons, 3 Super Bowl titles. I don't believe he's wearing one of the rings. I don't know. It's not disappointing, but maybe he doesn't wear them anymore. It's Matt Light, Ohio's own, in studio.
Yeah.
Good to have you, my man.
Good to be here, man. What a nice studio. I mean, the decor is great. Listen, I gave you guys a hard time. I thought maybe there'd be like a nice Purdue sign up there, but I get it. I grew up in Ohio. I know what it's like to, be the guy that left the state, broke a lot of hearts, went and played for the enemy, and then just had to deal with this all the time, right? I mean, even my buddy, he's a big Ohio State fan, loves it. But, it is nice to be back. I haven't been back in Ohio in about 6 months, so.
You're boilering up a little bit. I can hear it.
I'm boiling up a little bit.
That's why.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could sense that.
And I have to deal with you and your Indiana and the national championship and everything that comes with it. I will say this, man. Every time I come back here, especially in Columbus, I just remember some of the matchups and some of the games and some of those moments. I can remember playing against Vrabel and Finkus and that whole defense as a true freshman in 1996, right? I mean, it's crazy to think back that long ago, and especially that transition from, high school football in Dark County, Ohio, where, I mean, look, I think we won 7 games my entire high school career, right? And then, boom, end up playing against, the Vaughn in the shoe.
The Silver Bullets.
It's crazy, right? Yes.
That was
what a time.
In the 90s. So, Greenville, Ohio, I guess technically you're closer to Columbus than you were West Lafayette. It's not,
a lot closer.
All right, so you said you left, but I'm wondering how much they wanted you. Scarlet and Gray, I know they build a fence around Ohio, but take me back to that time. Did you want to come to Ohio State?
I'd never seen a college football game in my life. So it's interesting. I mean, the household that I grew up in, it was all about the outdoors. It was, we were hunting and fishing. We weren't watching TV ever. My dad had severe polio growing up, right? So it wasn't like he was a big sports guy, but really no one in my family were into sports. My mom was just like, stop eating everything and breaking stuff and get out of my home. And she taught, in the local school system for 35 years, right? And I think she was just like, just go do something. And football became my something. It was wild. I remember right before my senior year, we went to a camp, and I got invited to the camp at Ohio State. And I remember at the end of it, they would give out awards, and I got an award as an offensive lineman. And I remember, Cooper brings me in. They would bring the guys in. They got an award, and he would say all these nice things. And I'll never forget what he said about me, because he was looking at me. He said, "I think you could be a good tight end." And that's where I went to Purdue as a tight end. I have no idea why that was either, but it's just a lot of these coaches looked at me and said, "We're going to try to make you into an athlete," and they failed miserably.
Well, being 6'5", what are you?
Right at 6'5".
I mean,
yeah.
so I could see that.
Yeah. So, and I think my frame. I mean, I was 235, 240 pounds out of high school, right? And so they're like, "Yeah, we're going to make you a tight end." And I remember him saying, Cooper said, "Look, you're a guy. You're going to have to work really hard if you ever make this team. We may take a chance with you." And to contrast that months later, where coaches are like, "Hey, we think you're awesome." I remember looking back on it, and I was like, I don't know if Ohio State's really the thing for me. So I'm not sure if they wanted me or not. Either way, ended up going to Purdue, and what a wild ride that was.
Let's talk about some of that time at Purdue, because obviously you were around the great Tom Brady in the league, but you had a little time at Purdue with one Drew Brees as well. So just talk about that experience.
Mediocre player.
And being around an absolute
short.
dude.
Yeah, too short to actually play the position. Has a weird birthmark. I mean, what else do you want to get into?
When did you know? Was there a time at Purdue where you were like, "Oh, this guy, he's special"?
When you beat Ohio State, probably.
Well, I think for me, they put me at tight end, first of all, and I played my true freshman year at tight end. I had no idea what to do. I never heard of a route. I didn't know anything about it. And it was a crazy year for me because, you jumped directly from high school football to playing, college football in the Big Ten. And I can remember our defensive end, we had a guy named Chike O'Keefer. He was a great player in the league for quite a while. I was down in Arizona for a number of years and played at a pretty good level. But Chike picked me up and threw me on the ground in warm-ups as we're warming up in Penn State Stadium. I'm like, "No, guy, like, what are we doing here?" Right? Like, it was kind of surreal the whole season, but I caught one pass, man. I mean, you guys probably know this. I mean, you guys look up, all these amazing stats with my name on it. You'll see that 17 yards first down catch against Michigan where I ran over Charles Woodson. Again, I don't want to go into details because you guys know the whole story and you've been there.
Was there a stiff arm attached to that as well?
No,
okay.
I was just trying to stay on my 2 feet because that was the most athletic thing I've ever done. But no, when Brees came in, man, I remember, there's just a different feel about that kid, and he was a year behind me, and, he's this guy out of Texas, and he's got this family history with his grandfather and coaching, and he was a really good athlete in general, great baseball player, him and his brother as well. And, it was just a different feel. And immediately, man, his aggressiveness took over. And aggressive is probably not the right word, his competitiveness. And so I always tell people, look, man, you can be the worst left tackle in the history of football, but if the only two quarterbacks you've had since high school are Drew Brees and Tom Brady, you're going to look pretty good, right? I mean, let's face it.
Yeah. It's a pretty nice resume. 3-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro Matt Light in studio with us. You'll hear about the Light Foundation in moments as well. He's going to spend a little time with us. So, second-round pick, you go to the Patriots. All we've heard about forever is the Patriot way.
Yeah.
How much did you feel you had to adjust or change your, accountability, attention to detail, work ethic? How much did you have to sacrifice or give up when you were drafted by the Patriots? And when did you know that you had to do that?
Well, I think, the Patriot way was a little bit different depending on who you were and how you fit into the system, right? It was kind of tailored. It was almost like a game plan, right, for each guy. Right. This is what we feel you need to do. This is where, we think you are. And this is how you fit into this system. Right. Overall, there was a mantra, though, like do your job, work hard, be attentive, put the team first, manage expectations, speak for yourself, don't fuel the hype. I mean, these are things that we went over ad nauseum for 11 seasons.
Stuff that didn't work for Bobby Carpenter. Stuff that they probably
I was waiting to see when we could throw Bobby under the bus because I knew that was going to come. And that was a great opening. Yes. Right. He didn't get that memo. He didn't get a TPS report. It was on his desk, and he totally missed it. But so I think for me, though, really Joe Tiller at Purdue was a very disciplined, philosophical coach, right? He used to drive me up a frickin' wall, but there was no leeway in the system I came from. to just be a rogue warrior. I mean, there's coaches that coach that way, right? Hey, man, you're a football playing Jesse. Just go out there and do what you do. I'm not really that worried that you were late to practice, just as long as you go out there and ball out on Sunday, right? You know, and I remember a coach, a very famous coach, saying that at one of our practices with Bill. Bill brought this guy in, and he's there to watch his practice and training camp, and he makes a statement like that. And I remember all of us are looking at each other like, yeah, Bill didn't want him to say that. You know, like he was coaching some of the legends, and he's like, yeah, you know, these guys are going out there, they're doing lines of coach. No, I'm just kidding. But they're making bad decisions, and, you know, as long as they balled out, you know, with this Texas accent, and Bill's just like, oh, all right, we're gonna move on from there, you know, but Bill was disciplined. I came from that disciplined system. For me, it was comforting to know that if I'm gonna go out there and bust my ass and do everything at a million mile an hour, and I want to know that it's worth it. So I took comfort in that. I'm an X equals 8 guy. I like things to be exact and precise. And, you know, Bill did a really good job of keeping everybody what we called in the pit of despair. You know, nobody was the golden goose. Nice. You know, I mean, nobody was looking down on you, you know, while you were down in there doing a lot of the dirty work.
Did you just drop a Princess Bride on me?
This is one of my favorite movies. I may have done it, you know, subconsciously that I dropped something.
TLC, we just had a movie drop from Matt Light on the show, and it just right between. That was a fastball. That was awesome.
Which one? What
Pit of Despair.
It is. You're right. Gosh, that happened. That, by the way, one of the greatest movies of all time. Is it your glass? Is it my glass? It's inconceivable at this moment.
Incredible.
Thank you for that.
Well done.
Does Bill ever turn it off being what we see?
No.
Are there memories of him being lighthearted, fun, any of those type of stories to where you're like, okay, this is different than what he usually is in the film room or the practice field or whatever the case may be?
You know, it's funny, man. I was just going over a moment that includes now, maybe right now, Columbus's #1 celebrity, Matt Patricia. Okay, so, and it's so funny because I remember Matty P back when he was Dante Scarnecchia, our offensive line coach, who's a legend.
Yeah,
when he was his assistant, and then Bill takes him under his wing, and he's like driving Bill around and doing all this stuff, and it's like him and Bill. It's like Bill and a rocket scientist, like literally hanging out, and then to watch his rise and to see the things he's done. I'm so proud of him and so happy for him and his family and his 2 boys. I mean, he's got a great family. So, but this is a great moment. This will tell you that yes and no. So Bill didn't cut me for 11 seasons, probably only because I did make him laugh, but he never gave me the satisfaction of letting me see that. One moment in particular, training camp, I had an epiphany about 10 years into the league. And I'm sitting there. I used to sleep through all the meetings because, honestly, there's like 90% of the film I don't want to watch because I don't want to see how athletic the guy is. I'm backing up while he's running forward, and he's far more of an athlete than I'll ever be.
You actually were sleeping. You hit it, or you were fake sleeping, or you had your eyes open sleeping?
I can sleep, but if I'm not, the reason I talk so much is if I'm not actively participating, I'm asleep.
Good tip. All right.
You know what I'm saying? So at this point, I'm like trying to stay awake because Bill frowns on people sleeping in meetings, and it is payroll deduct. Like it kind of sucks. I lost a lot of money sleeping, and so I remember looking at the film, and it's training camp, and there's all the fans there, and they show the 2-minute drill. They show the shot clock from the end zone copy, and they zoom in to show you what the scenario is. It's third and whatever. There's 1 minute and 12 seconds left in the game, blah, blah. And we're going through all these situational things. But there's always some people laying there. Now, some of the guys are looking for like a pretty girl or whatever because it's training camp and you've been, whatever. I looked at it and said, I could get anybody to stand there and do whatever I want them to do, and we have to watch it. Why have I not thought of this before? So I called a buddy of mine, and I said, hey, man, make up these signs like, I love mayo on my buns for Gerard Mayo, who's a teammate at the time. Hey, Tommy, hit me, I'm open. Or like, hey, Welker, or Tommy, hit me in the slot, it's Welker. And like just stupid stuff, right? Like, and I'm doing a terrible job explaining this, but imagine a 6'4" dude with Daisy Dukes, cowboy boots, and a shirt tied in a knot to the side. And he's holding these signs, waving them.
Yeah.
And we have to watch that every time we start that 2-minute. I'm dying laughing. So I do this. And I remember for the first time ever, we had a little break before we went, because we used to go practice ends, we go in, we get cleaned up, and then we have meetings. After the coaches watch it first, right? Coaches always watch it first so they know how to dog cuss you and you guys all suck and this is how bad this practice was. But this time we had a little bit of a break, and I remember Matty P calling me and going, dude, I know it was you, Fredo. I know you were the one that put this guy up to this. And he's like, Pepper Johnson fell off his chair laughing. He's like, Ivan Fears is awake for the first time ever in a meeting. He's one of our running back coach. He's like, Dante's shaking his head because he knows it's you too. I had to leave the freaking room, and Bill never acknowledged it once. Never once acknowledged the fact that we're all dying. So
never breaks character.
We had some fun, man.
Awesome. Matt Light in studio with us, former All-Pro and 3-time Super Bowl champ with the Patriots. We'll come back, talk about his Light Foundation. And he is a natural-born prankster. We'll get his best on Bill next. Rothman Ice and the Fan.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
Hey, it's AR here for Germain Honda of Dublin. If you've been thinking about upgrading your ride, now's the time. It's the Honda Spring Event at Germain Honda of Dublin, and they've got seriously low lease rates on the Honda HR-V and Civic for well-qualified buyers. I'm talking reliable, fuel-efficient, and fun to drive without stretching your budget. Stop by Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270. Check them out online at GermainHondaofDublin.com. The Honda Spring Event won't last forever.
Spring showers revealing roofing or siding issues? Trust the pros at Newman Roofing for expert care, white glove service, and quality you can count on. Schedule your estimate today and take advantage of special financing options. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit NewmanRoofing.com today.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Pelotonia has proven there are no limits to community impact. We've raised more than $339 million for innovative cancer research at the James at Ohio State. Now, new routes let anyone be part of Ride Weekend. Mountain biking, trail running, and hiking join Gravel Day. And Pelotonia Kids welcomes our youngest riders because there's only one finish line that matters: ending cancer. Register today.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
It worked once, so we're doing it again. Sign up now for the Fan 5K, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. We're back at Otterbein on Saturday, June 20th. Walk a mile with the Common Man, jog a 5K with T-Bone, or try to beat Tyvis in a 40-yard dash. Tyvis won't stretch, so there's a chance he pulls something. The fun starts at 8 a.m. Saturday, June 20th. Register today and earn a sweet medal, race T-shirt, and a photo op at the finish line. Sign up at 971therace.com. Prepare your tightest running clothes, and we'll see you at the Fan 5K on June 20th.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Call today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you want and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, foreclosures, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Call today and speak with me, John Kozik, for an all-cash offer and the help you need. At 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000, TurboTrackRealty.com.
Last year, Eric Reeser and T-Bone staged the first annual Fan 5K. People had a good time and no one died. So we decided to do it all again. It all goes down Saturday, June 20th in Otterbein.
Presented by the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center.
Will Reeser's muscular calves explode? Will T-Bone's beard choke him while running? More importantly, will Tyvus, Common Man, and Timmy make total fools of themselves? Maybe. Magic 8 Ball says signs point to yes. Register today at 971therace.com. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly sunny skies for us today with highs in the mid-80s and breezy winds. And then as we head into the evening, we'll see chances of showers and storms develop, some which could be on the stronger side. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with lows in the 60s. We will see storms and even showers possible the second half of your Thursday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with highs around 80 degrees. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Just when you thought afternoons couldn't get any dumber.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you?
Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Your home for dumb. The Fan. Anthony used to ski in his jeans? Are you serious? No, he's not from New Jersey. Back to Rothman and Ice.
Pleasure to be joined in studio by Matt Light, Greenville, Ohio's own MattLight72.com, the founder of the Light Foundation. The more I've learned about this, and I was talking to Troy, I don't know, is he friend, publicist, Uber driver? I've talked to him several times. Yeah, he does it all.
He does, yeah. He's incredible. Troy's officially our COO, and he's running the operation and valet, right? Yeah. I mean, he's a terrible driver, but that said, highly coachable. Yeah. So yeah, look, it's something that has been a big part of my life for most of my life. We launched the Life Foundation in 2001. Year I was 2002 officially. I was drafted in 2001. By 2002, that was the focus to do something. Look, I wasn't a kid to watch football, like I said earlier, but felt so blessed to be in an opportunity that I did. And now, what am I going to do with it, kind of a thing? And had great parents and educators. My mom taught for 35 years. My dad did some teaching at one point, but he's a jack of all trades. And we just said, hey, let's make a difference. Let's work with kids and show them that there's maybe another way to think, another way to do things. So we've got a leadership academy, and we work with kids from across the country, serve about 7,500 kids annually, and we bring them out into the great unknown of Darke County in the middle of nowhere, where they're smelling hog manure if it's a north wind, cow manure if it's a west wind, and they're going to get a little chicken litter. That's the good one if it's somewhere out of the southeast.
Livers, chitlins, gizzards, and whatever else. Giblets.
You got
it all. Yeah, that's the Fab Four he's talking about. For people who don't know, so Matt's foundation assists young kids before they get to high school or right around that area.
All the way up to high school, yeah.
All the way up to it. And they're providing these outdoor experiences, but you're assisting them in a purpose, a mentorship, their potential that can be reached. These are kids that would maybe fall through the cracks or maybe wouldn't even know they needed this or wanted this. So how do you recruit, I guess, these kids to say, we're here for you. We want to help you, and we're going to pay for everything. And then they come out in consecutive summers and experience a week and a half or whatever of all this and kind of bond together, and then you stay in touch. I imagine you said you've been doing this for the last 25 years. So you probably know grown men now with kids that have come through and that may necessarily have made it without. That's got to be incredibly fulfilling. Give me a couple of those success stories before you kind of go back to how you get them to the camp.
Yeah, and look, the way we identify these kids, we work with local organizations, right? A lot of times it's in the school system. It's the, people in the superintendent's office. It's teachers that are, boots on the ground every day, and they understand these kids. And we have a list of criteria based on the program itself, right? So we do things with first graders, like our Light Project. That's awesome. We encourage them to read real books, right? Papers that you turn and get in. And it's outdoor based stuff, but everything comes back to leadership. And when you think leadership, it's really all those things that make us better people, all those things that make us more productive, all those things that are about mentorship and opportunities and walking alongside of people, because how many times do you look back in your own life and you say, man, you know what? If it wasn't for this person, if I didn't have a dad and a mom like this, or if I didn't have an uncle, or if I didn't have a teacher who poured into me. I mean, I was the kid that set the house on fire every day. And thank God my grandmother, she would be like, hey, look, I might be the only family member you have that still loves you, but at least you got one, you know? And so that's what we want to be. We want to be that lifeline. And so we work with kids in unique programs, football camps, timber framing camps, where we're teaching the ancient art of timber framing, but it's just a way to get them to relate to each other and work together and provide these leadership moments that we know will serve them for the rest of their lives. And the one program that started it all was Camp Vahoakis. It's a 4-year program. We identify 4 young men in a different part of the country every single year. This time of year, we were identifying some in New Hampshire right now. And once we identify them, we'll bring them into our program and we'll say, hey, look, here's a pledge. You got to sign this. And once you sign this, this is what you're agreeing to. And then here's what we're going to give you in return. And it's not going to be easy. We're going to ask a lot of you over 4 years. So
it's amazing. That's incredible. Let me ask you this. How much of the Patriot Way maybe helped shape some of this foundation that you've built?
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, a lot. And I would say that, you know, when you have success in anything in life, right, you're kind of driven, most of us, to layer up on that, right? Yeah. So, you know, you take the Patriot Way, right? We started to win, and we started to believe we could win. And then we started winning consistently. And then we won back-to-back. And then we had some hard times where we weren't winning as much, but we're trying to find new ways to win. And all those experiences help drive you and make you who you are, right? And that's called life. And so when we work with kids, we try to emulate a lot of those things that made us successful on the field. But also, man, they're a narrative for your life, right? I mean, there's so many things that you get to experience that if you never get a chance to share them with somebody, you'll never see, you know, what is truly possible, especially for those that some people have given up on, right? I mean, we do work with some kids that, you know, there's people that tell us, like, you know what, he's a real pain in the butt, but, you know, you just need somebody to walk with him.
Well, I'm sure you've gone, Maddie, I have, like, maybe the best coaches you've ever had were the ones that were the toughest, or at least you look back on it now. Maybe in the moment you certainly didn't like them, but I think that they've meant the most to you. They held you accountable. You had to show up. You had to work, and they made you who you are. You've got a big event coming up, a Buckeye Blast event, correct?
We do, man. This is year 2 in Delaware, Blackwing Shooting Center. It's going to be a blast. Aside from that, we're going to be shooting a lot of different guns. We're going to be raising a lot of money for the programs and the things that feed the Light Foundation, the work we do. You know, one of the things I'm most proud of when it comes to events like this is that you're going to get to meet my entire team, because they all go from working with kids to serving through an event like this, because we're not going to go pay somebody to come do a job that we can do. And we all need to know who these people are that are supporting us. So, you know, these events are bigger than just the event. You know, people are going to learn a little bit about what we do. They're going to have a great time, and we're going to shoot, and they're going to hopefully meet some, you know, former players, and maybe we'll get some current guys there. I don't know. I've been working with some of these guys. I know, you know, we've got some dignitaries coming on the political side. I mean, it's going to be a fun day. Ultimately, though, it's all there to raise money for the foundation.
Awesome.
Matt, do you want, for people that want to know, would they go to mattlight72.com? Is that?
Yes, and it sounds so self-serving. Listen, the Light Foundation is some women's application to put stuff on. So, I mean, it makes me sad. I'm glad you're saying it. Yes, go to the website. There's a lot of great information there, too, on the work we do in the programs and this event. And this will be a big one.
I was telling Troy earlier, I mean, it's easy to talk about. It's easy to wish for. The fact that you've done it for 25 years is incredible. And I love the fact that you can look back and see a 14-year-old kid at 40 years old or whatever, and him look at you and say, wow, like that meant something to that person's life.
And they come back, and we have so many kids that come back and work the camps now, and that's been a lot of fun.
I'll say that, do you have a couple minutes? Can you hang out for a couple more minutes? All right, because I do want to ask you about a little more about Belichick, a little more about what's coming up, offensive linemen in the draft, how those guys
how long my arms are.
Yes, Ruben Bain. A Ruben Bain
I got
drop.
a question about Bain for you. I really do.
We'll come back with Matt Light, the former Super Bowl champ, multi-Super Bowl champ, in studio next. Rothman Ice and the Fan.
Spring is here, and there's no better place to make memories than the Columbus Zoo. See tigers up close, watch playful otters, and see the baby elephants in action. For a limited time, take advantage of our Zoo After 2 p.m. deal. Plan your adventure at columbuszoo.org.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending, the original home of the no-cost mortgage. If you've been in the market for a new home or just wanted to take advantage of lower rates, recent events have shown exactly why Miller Lending chose to offer a way around bad timing with our no closing cost program. With no fees rolled in or charged, including the cost of title insurance, you can simply close on today's rates and refinance free of charge as rates improve. Over the past several months, we spoke to numerous borrowers who had heard rates were coming down and chose to wait. We explained that if rates did fall, you could simply update a few documents and refinance again, but why take the chance? So when rates spiked 0.5% recently, not only was I disappointed that we couldn't help those who waited, but also for those buying a home who just saw a sharp increase to their monthly payment. So while we can't control the market, we can offer an alternative. Eliminate timing and say goodbye to closing costs forever. 877-9-NO-COST, or simply apply online at nocostmortgage.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Austin Ward here, fired up for warm weather, golf season, longer days, more time outside. Ride the momentum and finally drop the weight you keep saying you will. With Awaken 180, it's fast, easy, and we're all proof that it works. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
As the seasons change, it's time to prep your HVAC system with a $49 seasonal tune-up from Columbus Worthington Air. A seasonal tune-up can help save money on your energy bill and help prevent expensive breakdowns. As your local home service experts, everything we do is backed by our exceptional service guarantee. It all adds up to dependable service from neighbors you trust. Columbus Worthington Air and Bryant Heating and Cooling. Whatever it takes. Visit cwaohio.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 47543.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Matty is a diehard Reds fan. I mean, where else is he going to go? You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Joined in studio by a New England Patriot Hall of Famer, Matt Light, three-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro in 2007. I've asked you about Belichick and maybe how much you felt you had to change or give up, and you said you were prepped for it with Joe Tiller and all that, which makes a lot of sense. But you also said you could give it back to him a little bit. Maybe you were one of the only ones to give it back to him, but you gave it back. When was the time that you felt like I can prank him, not just jab him a little bit, but prank him? And what was that, and how did it turn out?
That was my rookie season. It was actually, I don't even know if we were at a training camp yet, which I know that sounds a little brazen, right? Like probably not a good thing to do for like long-term job security.
You were a second rounder.
Yeah. Not a first rounder. Right. I mean, I wasn't Richard Seymour. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, I think I did it because I was trying to impress some of the older cats. And here's how it went down. So we're in old Foxborough Stadium, which was, honestly, there's many, many schools here in Ohio that had facilities that were markedly better than what we had at the old Foxborough Stadium. I'm not kidding when I tell you rats ran across our feet down in the locker room. It was a dungeon. It was one of the worst pits of despair of all time. So we're down there, and some of the vets would be like, "Hey, Rook, go get this ball signed by guys," right? And I'm all right, I get a ball signed. So I got asked to do this a number of times, and I always took that with a grain of salt, right? Whatever. And so I remember I always have, like, I'm always looking for devices. And this is back, like, in the old days. Like, it wasn't easy to just get stuff. Today, just speak into your phone. Hey, give me some cool device that'll mess with people. Boom, brrr, AI gives it to you. Back then, you had to get a little creative. So I had this pin that would shock the snot out of you. I mean, it was like 1,000 volts. It'd make you scream for Jesus. I mean, I used to have, like, the shocking staple. I had every device that looked normal. And my wife hated it because I'd leave them laying around the house and she'd get hit by them. Never a good situation. But I had the pin, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't want these guys to keep asking me to get the ball signed. So Bill's coming through the locker room, and I was like, "Hey, Bill, AP wanted me to get this ball signed." So I'm like throwing, because he was asking me to do it a lot anyway. And so I hand him the thing, and he goes to hit the pin, and I mean, throws the ball, drops the pin. He's like, "What the?" And I'm like, "Oh, man." I'm like, "Bill," I'm like, "AP gave me the pin, man." I'm like, "I don't know." And so, like, that was how it kind of started, and then it just escalated. And when it comes to shocking, I did put a remote in Bill's office. That one did almost get me fired. My wife warned me. She's like, "This is the one that's going to do it to you." And he lost a lot of information. Bill takes meticulous notes every single day. Now you guys are going to like this because you're football people, and if you're a fan, you're going to love this because it speaks to the heart of like what made Bill tick. So imagine this. I find this fascinating this day. We're just coming off. It's a Monday afternoon. Bill's already addressed the team because we lost on the road to a divisional opponent. Okay, and now we're getting ready to play at home against an NFC team, and he is trying to figure out how do I deal with this. So he's going to search all of his notes to find a scenario just like it. Just a loss on the road against a divisional team, now playing a non-divisional team, and it's actually an NFC team. We're AFC. And how did he treat the team? Did he go hard on them? You know, did he not go hard on them? How was a week of preparation? What was their mindset? He's going to look at all that, and then he's going to decide how to move forward. And what we used to always say, it's never, whatever you think, it's never going to be as bad as you think, and it's never going to be as good as you think. Right? So we just crush the team. You'll come in there, we just beat a team 87-0. And he's like, I mean, if we do these 5 things, we're going to suck. We're never win another game. And you're like, oh, thought it was all going to be great. And then you go in there and you get absolutely crushed. And he's like, all right, look, we got things to work on, and so never as bad as the team, never as good as the team. But that's what he does. Mm-hmm. So when you put a mouse in his office, and he shocks himself not once but twice. By the way, the first one, my fault. Second one, absolutely him. That's all on him, not my fault. Error repeater is what we call that. But he hit his keyboard at the same time, and it closed out his program, and he lost his notes.
Oh, man.
That one did almost get me fired.
Oh, my goodness. That's a great story, by the way. Glad you made it through. But that's a phenomenal story. So you talk about the preparation with Belichick. Let's talk playoff Brady now. Because it just seemed to be a whole nother focus, a whole nother guy that just showed up when it mattered most. So the preparation, you being a part of that offensive system and all of that, take us inside Brady's mind and what that looked like on the grind.
Yeah, it was more of everything that we always had, and we talked about that. But there's a difference between talking about it. Coaches stress that there's everything, every movement's more important. Every bit of film study is more important. We've done a lot to get to this point, but we have to do more. And then you see a guy like him, and he's always doing more, and the communication is more, and the on the field kind of discussions are more. And the expectation level is more. I mean, the guy, that's him. Again, I always tell people, the 2 most competitive human beings I've ever spent time with in my life are Tom Brady and Drew Brees. There's never going to be a time where it's good enough. There's never going to be a time where they ever feel like coming off the gas. If they're not built that way, they don't think that way, it's not going to happen.
And Belichick made the move when he really didn't have to, right? Bledsoe was your guy. He came back from injury, and he was playing well.
Came back in the AFC Championship game.
That's right.
Threw a dart to Troy Brown.
Man, you never lose your job to injury. Well, he lost it, and that was a weird time, right? How did you feel about that move
awkward.
at the time?
Weird. I mean, you got to remember, too, Drew Bledsoe just signed a $100 million, $10 million a year for 10 years. Never heard of before. I think that was a high watermark at the time, but either way, you didn't think this guy was going to be sitting the bench. Yeah, it was very awkward.
Yeah.
What about the end and your thoughts on Tom going to Tampa? All the stories that have come out, whether they're true or not. Bill's call, Robert Kraft kind of hovering over all this. When you were sitting back and watching all that happen, what'd you think knowing all the parties involved?
Yeah, well, look, there's a lot of things you can talk about, and there's moments within all of those that are we can go down a rabbit hole, and they help tell the overall story, right? Yeah. Of things that happen at certain moments. But that's no different than anywhere else. I mean, look at any job, any place you've ever worked in the real world, because that's not the real world, but it's very reminiscent in terms of relationship issues and things that go on. But you can still have a very productive, successful company. You can still win really, big games if you don't all like each other. You just got to respect the system and what it represents, right? They were able to do that for a long, long, long time. But I always say this, there's only one person at the very, very top, and that's ownership. So whether it was Bill, you think it was Bill, whether you think it was Brady, whether you think it was Mr. Kraft, at the end of the day, I know that the best player and the best coach at the time, right, were no longer part of the same organization. And you would think, in a perfect world, they both ride off into the sunset, given the body of work that they put out there. So it's like anything else, man. You want to keep greatness together. There's got to be a lot of sacrifice. There's got to be a lot of things come together. And there's always one person at the very top. And so it's not being super critical of Mr. Kraft, but at the end of the day, he owns the team. Mm-hmm. He is the end. He is LRC, as I heard him say, lower right-hand corner. That's the man that signs your checks, right?
Well, I like that.
LRC, buddy.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Matt Light, Greenville, Ohio's own, MattLight72.com, founder of the Light Foundation, 3-time Pro Bowler for the Patriots, 3-time Super Bowl champ, first-team All-Pro. What would you get more defensive about if I asked you about Spygate or Deflategate? What would get you more?
I think they're both fascinating. Up? Yeah, okay. I think the Spygate one is fascinating. I think Deflategate. I've got my own views on Deflategate. I think that one's absurd. Now, I wasn't on the team at the time, so it's not as if. But I mean, I know all the parties involved, all the way down to the guy that does inflate the ball. Right. I honestly, man, I'll just throw this out there for the world. I think Deflategate was something that arose out of just some angry elves within the NFL, and it became a big-time driver of revenue for some teams. Believe that or not.
So it didn't happen, or it happened, but it didn't matter to you?
Well, it happened in with regard to like pressure in a football, which no one had ever mentioned in the history of sports, period. Right?
I don't think it was ever.
That was the first.
Let's just start with that, right? The most ridiculous possible thing to focus on. And then if you really look at all of the data, like I like data. I like X equals 8, as I said earlier. I think that when you have MIT and every other leading, higher thinking group of individuals say that it's impossible to have better aerodynamics with less air, then you need to ask yourself, like, how can that be something that is a benefit to a player? It's like, I know how Tommy liked to do stuff, and he's very regimented, but there's not an advantage to having less pressure in a football. So if we went with those two statements, never heard of an inflating football, and by the way, I'm not defending it. I'm just speaking to the actual science of it. And the fact that it absolutely doesn't give you an advantage, then what are we talking about?
Is there an advantage for any specific position? Running back, wide receiver, tight end? Can it show itself there?
No, because I think the mindset would be that it'd be so much harder. You're talking, I think it was 2 PSI or whatever it was, or 6 PSI. It has no advantage at all, zero. Okay. So if you can't get the ball to the receiver the way it needs to be there, right? It doesn't matter what it is. They can't catch it, right? No, so there's no advantage to doing that. I honestly, man, look, I think it drove a lot of Patriot fans crazy and rallied them behind a team that they got very complacent with and stopped buying things like jerseys and stuff. I think it added a lot of revenue generation.
Interesting.
At a very opportune time. It's like, when you put the guy on the table and you start gutting him and he starts yelling freedom, even though the guy's dying, everybody's fighting. It's Braveheart.
No, I
think that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's just my suspicion.
Yeah. I think he felt it was either easier to grip. He liked it where he liked it because he's maybe the best ever. And he had two guys in the equipment or lock that said, we'll do it. But he knew it was against technically the rules, or he wouldn't have had those two guys taking the balls where they took them.
See but that's if you're looking at it in a vacuum. If you looked at it across the league, every single quarterback that's ever played the game
argue that.
Has the exact same weirdness, right? They all have their little ways that they like to hold the ball, and they rub them on the ground because they have a wax coating on them, right? They all do it. Yeah. So again, we're talking about a constant. So that's a constant. So what's the outlier? Like, why did that become national news. Again, something much different.
Matt Light. MattLight72.com is the site. I urge you to go to it if you're listening. The founder of the Life Foundation, this man and his family have assisted so many young kids over time, generations, I think, have been impacted by your unique outdoor learning experiences, the mentorship, the checking in over the years, the quarterly stuff. You have given people, before Life Coach was even probably invented, maybe you did kind of invent it for these kids. I urge people to go to it, check out the Buckeye Blast, the event they have coming up. And this was an awesome visit.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man. And hopefully we'll see you May 12th.
Yep.
And we get crazy, have a little fun, talk about the foundation.
Let's do
hang
it.
out in the outdoors.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be bad, right?
Maybe you and me put an old oaken bucket in the middle and see what happens.
I love it. Yeah, no, thank you guys.
Absolutely.
It's been great.
Matt Light, the great offensive lineman, tackle for the Patriots, 3-time Super Bowl champ. We appreciate the time. We'll come back with the Buckeye Bulletin. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
They will resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true, who is fact-checking, and how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees. If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of, and fact-check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial pound law.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Ah, college. A time to broaden the mind, question, learn. A time to challenge the status quo. And eat a ridiculous amount of pizza, which you can buy with your Huntington Bank debit card with the Ohio State University logo. Huntington Bank is proud to be the official consumer bank of the Ohio State University and the unofficial bank of pizza. Let's go Bucks! Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome.
Listen up, Columbus. Before you buy or lease a new Honda, see Lindsay Honda first. For a limited time, every new Honda includes a complimentary gift. Choose a KitchenAid stand mixer, a 75-inch high-def TV, or a zero-gravity massage chair when you buy any new Honda. Plus, drive a new 2026 Civic Sport, just $199 a month, or a 2026 CR-V LX, just $279 a month.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
During the Honda Spring Event, see lindsayhonda.com for details.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
It's never a bad time to fire up the grill. At Billiards Plus, the grilling season never ends. While you're grill shopping, you'll love browsing Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. April's the perfect time to reset your home for the long run, and Universal Windows Direct makes that decision easy. Right now, when you buy 2 windows, you get 2 free, and there's no limit. The more you upgrade, the more you save. Plus 24 months with no payments and no interest. And if you need some more, how about a $500 bonus off your home improvement project? Schedule your free estimate today. Call 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
T-Bone and Tybus is sponsored by Capital Ford of Columbus.
There's a table in there for kids to just sit there and look through their cards.
You want to battle?
There you
Pull
go.
your deck out.
That's the thing. Deck, just to be very clear.
Mornings on The Fan. All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Window Nation. Save up to 50% on new windows from windownation.com.
All right, Buckeye Bulletin time. So Saturday is the spring game, high noon at the Shoe. It'll be, I don't know, traditional as far as spring games go. You know, you'll see some long passes. You'll see some, thud tackling a little bit. And it's not going to be a full roster. Hopefully be a very nice day. We're checking that out for you.
I think we're getting mid-70s, maybe a chance of rain.
Ooh, all right.
Coming through.
Spoke too soon, yeah. I don't like those thunderbolt emojis on the phone.
Yeah.
But it's scheduled, and there are certainly some questions going in about receiver and who's going to step up there. And it'll be interesting about the offensive line because of the dudes that are out and trying to get some cohesiveness there. I threw out just the non-sexy, do they finally have a kicker? Are they going to be showing that off a little bit?
It's a big deal, man, especially when, we've been talking about the gauntlet as you tab the schedule this year. You may have some of those games, right, where it's fourth quarter, hey, kicker, we need you. We need you to grab 3 here, grab 3 there, wherever it may be. If you're playing, Texas and Michigan and all those teams that they're going up against that could be tight games, your kicker better have his stuff ready to go.
Don't need him until you need him.
Exactly.
You don't need him until you need him. And Connor Hawkins, the kid from Baylor, is going to get a chance to come in and see if he can rescue that.
It's a real thing, for sure.
Here is Ryan Day on the value of a spring game.
When we entered last year, coming off of the late season, finish, we finished on the 20th, and then spring ball was right around the corner. But what you realize is these guys coming out of high school really need to play. They haven't played at this level, and it's a big jump for all of them. So they need it. There are guys, however, that have played, 500 or 1,000 more snaps, 1,000 or more snaps. And so those guys really don't need that as much. But there's a lot of guys on the team that do. And so now that there's only one portal and you pretty much know what your team is at this point, it allows you enough players to get out there and actually, scrimmage. And we need to do that. So that's what we're going to do. But we'll also be smart and make sure we're not putting guys who will put a whole bunch of football out there, and risk any type of injury. But some of these guys do need to play, and then it gives us some feedback going into the preseason on how guys we can expect them to perform when they go into games.
And if you're one of these transfer guys coming in too, right? We're going to see a lot of new faces this season. I'm sure these guys want to make a name for themselves as well, whether they're competing with somebody else or they just want to show Buckeye Nation what they're all about. You make a few pop plays out there on Saturday. That's always a win. I'm excited to see the wide receivers and what we get from them. I know Legend Bay's dinged up, so we may not see him on Saturday, but Chris Henry, just to see how he moves around and all of that stuff, right? Just so much anticipation with his recruitment and now finally locking that in and him being here throughout the offseason and spring. To see him out there on Saturday, hopefully making some plays would be cool to see.
Yeah, I think most of this will be some tempo and some full contact, and it'll be similar to last year, and people will be excited to get out there and see the Buckeyes. That's really how it happens, and maybe some names that they wouldn't normally get to see. Here's Ryan Day on his QB room.
It's been solid. Every day you come off the field and, you get challenged and you have a certain opinion every day, is a new day. That's kind of how you have to look at it when you're a quarterback, because if you think what happened in the last practice is going to affect the next, it's not. Defense is going to throw new stuff at you. We have some things that we're installing, different situations, and that is one thing as we get into the last week of spring, more situational stuff. I feel like the room is strong. I feel like we have an opportunity to build some depth behind Julian and then build a future with the guys that are in the room. And so, we're working to build these guys up every day, but they have to realize and understand that, certainly Julian's a starter, but, they're one play away from playing in these games. And, we all know, the history of, guys getting injured and having guys step up. So depth is important at every position, but we know how important it is at quarterback. So there has been a lot of growth in that room, but we all know what the expectation is. The expectation is to step in and play at championship level.
Chris Henry Jr., the black stripe has been removed.
Okay.
So that's
it's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. Coach Day was obviously talking about the quarterbacks right there, but between Justin Martin, new kid on the block coming in, Tavian St. Clair that's been here for a little minute. This is huge for them, right? Another moment for those guys to showcase to Coach Day that if the unfortunate thing happens to Julian Sanders where he's got to miss a game or a drive or whatever it may be, hey, I'm the guy that you want to call to come off the sideline and make things happen. So this is critical for those guys as well. And definitely Tavian right now to show his development. Massive recruit coming out of high school, in-state guy. This is going to be a big stage for him.
I like it. That'll be something to look forward to, to see what he's got on Saturday. All right, we're going to come back top of the hour and hit you with Mel Kiper's final mock before the draft next Thursday. His best and final offer. We will reveal that next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring is here, and it's time to hit the road with something new from Germain Toyota. Right now, get into a rugged 2026 Toyota Tundra with just 2.99% financing for up to 72 months. Power, performance, and capability ready for every spring adventure. Or cruise into the season with a 2026 Tacoma SR5 for only $299 a month for 36 months and $39.99 due at signing. Fresh deals, fresh rides. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road or online at germaintoyota.net.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
The great thing about Atlas Butler is they do it all. Heating, cooling, plumbing. Look, I'm busy with work. I don't have time to wait around or deal with lots of people. One company, one call, and they do it all. Wonder if they'll clean out my inbox. Seriously, offer that service. Please.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
We all plan to be on time, but fender benders, damaged windshields, and slick roads can quickly disrupt those plans. At Shelter Insurance, our agents help design personal protection plans that work for you and help keep you on track. To get started, find an agent at shelterinsurance.com. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Hey, it's Anthony. By now you know my good feet story, but the point I try to get across is that it's an ongoing one for me. For as long as I can remember, it's always been about my lower back. But when I got fitted for my personal arch supports, it's been an absolute game changer. I feel better. They take all the stress off my back. I feel supported and aligned, and you don't hear me complain about it the way I used to. I could feel the difference instantly, and I didn't have to wait to feel that difference. Once I got fitted, popped them in my shoes, took the test walk around the store, and now on a daily basis, everything feels better. And that's what I mean about an ongoing story. This journey to feeling more comfortable makes everything better. You can make an appointment online or just stop into the Good Feet store in Grove City or the one on Polaris Parkway in Westerville, and their experts will personally fit you. Then do what I did. Take a test walk around, and you will feel the difference. Do your feet a favor. Get started at goodfeet.com.
The Reds are on the radio.
And he caught it. No way. What a grab. Noelvi Marte. Ellie De La Cruz is on his horse, and they're waving him to the house. Suarez swings. He drives this. It is gone. Eugenio Suarez puts the Reds on top.
The quest for October baseball is underway. Hear all the action all season long on your home of the Reds.
Recalculating route. Estimated arrival time. Never.
For people with nasal congestion, snoring, or sleep apnea, finding a solution feels like a never-ending road trip.
First stop, my primary doctor. Then the pharmacy. Then a sleep specialist. Then an ENT.
What if there was just one destination for all your problems?
Welcome to Advent, your one-stop solution for nasal congestion, snoring, and sleep apnea for over 20 years. Unlike many other practices, we focus exclusively on these conditions, so you get comprehensive care in one location. Over 95% of patients with severe nasal breathing issues report improvement. Plus, most insurance is accepted for our effective 20-minute in-office treatments.
You have arrived at Clear Breathing.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good afternoon, I'm Isaiah Jacob. MLB action is already underway as the Guardians and Cardinals are tied up 1-1 in the bottom of the second. On the mound for the Guardians, Slade Ciccone. The Reds will be back in action tonight, hosting the San Francisco Giants at 6:40. On the mound for Cincinnati, Rhett Lauder. In the NBA, the play-in game continues tonight at 7:30 with Orlando and Philadelphia. And then the late game at 10, Golden State will face the LA Clippers. For the Warriors, head coach Steve Kerr said that Steph Curry, Kristaps Porzingis, and Al Horford will all play fewer than 40 minutes in the must-win game. On Saturday, the Cavaliers, a 4-seed, host Toronto in the first of their 7-game series at 1. This update is sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, your convenience store for metal. Visit Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com or 2180 Wilson Road for all your metal needs. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and Ice feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
All right, final of the program. So Schefty will come on at 2:30. We'll talk draft, see if he has any locks, any great educated guesses. So we'll have him at 2:30. A bit of blockbuster. Zach came on at 12:30, talked Jackets, and Matt Light in studio for 45 minutes. Can't thank him enough. Guy spent like an hour with us, so incredible. If you missed that, please check it out anywhere you get your podcast.
Absolutely, because some of the stories, AR, were amazing, and I felt like we could have been still talking to him right now. Like, we could have just talked to him for the next hour if we needed to. See it rocking and rolling, as AR mentioned. You missed that, or you missed Z coming off a obviously tough end of the season, the whole, Rick Bowness fiasco that happened last night. Z's reaction to that and how some of his teammates felt about that as well is in there. Wherever you get your podcast, just type in Rothman and Ice, and you can catch up on all of it.
Yeah, we'll hit a little more of that at 2:17. Maybe we'll hit you up with that sound from last night if you haven't heard it yet. All right, so Mel Kiper has given his best and final offer here on the mock draft. And some mocks are full of trades and some don't go that bold, because that's a bold step to make. Now, the guys that could probably do mock drafts with trades would be insiders, guys that have a feeling. Guys that have a feeling that maybe this team would be more tempted to move than others. Yeah. And so we'll get Schefty's opinion on that at the bottom of the hour. But Mel Kiper has dropped his final mock. So I haven't really gone over this too much. I know you have it brought up. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be curious to see where he has the Buckeyes, because As far as the Buckeye, if there is one that wouldn't make the top 10, which is not a big deal, by the way, but if one didn't, I think that's kind of been a sliding scale for a lot of people. And the one that's sliding up for me, and I think for him, is Sonny Styles, and who is the combine killer and had so much to offer teams that certainly want a defender like him, that he could be a starter for sure, and he'd be a guy that they would need. So if you can check both those boxes, will he start for me? Do I need this guy? And could he be a leader on my team at a very young age as a rookie? And so I haven't seen this. Where does he have Sonny Styles in his new mock?
He has Sonny Styles being picked at number 6, but not by the Cleveland Browns. He's got the Cleveland Browns and the Dallas Cowboys doing some business here. Yeah. He's got Jerry Jones calling Haslam, calling Andrew Berry and saying, listen, man, here's another pick for you. You want another first-round pick? You want 3 of them in the first round? Give us 6. He's got the Dallas Cowboys coming up to pick 6 and taking Sonny Styles.
All right. So there's 2 questions here. One, what are the Browns? The Browns would get then 12. They slide back to 12, and then they would also have what? 24?
He has them picking, so they would have 12. They would have, I believe, 20 as well. Let me double-check this for you. So they would have their – I don't know, my computer's doing this right now.
That sounds right,
But
though.
he would have 12 and 20. That's what you would have as a Browns fan. You'd have 12, 20, and 24. If this were to happen, that's got to be tempting if you're Andrew Berry.
It absolutely is
take
tempting.
3 swings in the first round.
So now you got to ask yourself, would you rather have Sonny Styles or that pick? That's really what it comes down to.
I don't even know if you can look at it that way, but I think it's
or not
also,
Sonny, but anybody.
It's also too in-house knowing as the Browns, we have Carson Schlesinger. We have our linebacker of the future, right?
Take Sonny off the table. Anybody. Like, am I willing to trade out of 6 and sacrifice Carnell Tate, an offensive, who's the kid from Miami?
Maui Noah?
Him. That dude.
It's about what their draft board looks like, right? And the depth that they feel like is going to be there if they were to have the 3 first-round picks in this hypothetical.
I would do it.
Because there's talk out there that there's good depth at the wide receiver position in this draft, and them picking at 12 with the way that he has the board falling, that they would have Caden Proctor fall right into their lap.
Offensive lineman.
Yeah. So that's what he has them doing first. So,
or the other kid, or Fano.
Whoever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's going to be offensive linemen there for them to pick at 12, and I've kind of always been in that camp all off season that they have to get that addressed first and then mess around with the playmaker next. And in this situation, you have 2 more swings at it. So, he's got Sonny Styles going at 6 if you want his top 5. We know the draft starts at 2. It'll be Mendoza going to the Raiders. There's been a little back and forth amongst people that are in the draft circles about will the Jets go Bailey or Arvell Reese at 2. He has David Bailey going at 2, but then Arvell Reese coming off the board at 3 to Arizona. Jeremiah Love going to Tennessee at 4. And that's interesting. Are they ready for that? I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they are. And then he has Caleb Downs going to the G-Men at 5. So that's his final top 5.
That has a very Harbaugh-esque pick to it, Caleb Downs, because you wouldn't see that normally, but I think people love his high floor. He's obviously, as Matt Patricia has tabbed him, the smartest guy in the draft. And
especially, too, Harbaugh's leaving Baltimore, and he just coached up Kyle Hamilton. Yeah. So I'm not going to be surprised at all if, let's say, this trade doesn't happen, if the Giants come away at 5 with one of Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles. Because that feels like a Harbaugh type of pick.
It's the Baltimore Giants. Yes, I feel like that would probably be the pick. Yeah. All right, that's okay. I mean, the Love thing is very intriguing to me. It is, because as we've talked about, a team better be ready for that and also feel like, are you good enough to win now? Because I think the last thing I want with a running back is for him to be good, but then I got to decide whether I want to pay him eventually, and then he's older. He's certainly in his prime, but I feel like, am I going to get enough out of him early on to feel like he's going to be worth the money I'm going to have to pay him when we're really good? Or can he get drafted by a team that's ready to win now, and then that would be more of a key team? I agree.
I think the sad reality for him is probably the number 7, right?
Washington?
No, meaning when you're a running back and you get picked in the first round, they'll pick up that 5th-year option. They don't have to hit you with the contract extension then, and then your world comes into focus. You can tag him twice and send him on his way. That's the sad reality of this. So they may not be ready to compete as far as a deep playoff run right now, but they've spent a lot of money this offseason. In their minds, they probably think they're closer than we think, and that's usually how teams and athletes think anyway. And so maybe they are looking at AR maybe years 2 and 3 that it would be worth it then. And then it can show itself when Cam Moore continues to develop and shine and hopefully become a dude that they think he can be. And then when you have that ready to go, then you're still getting the best out of Jeremiah Love in time. So maybe the early returns may not seem like it's worth it to take him at 4, but the long-term view for them, they're probably saying this guy is so good that we don't want to pass him up, and then we'll have this thing built and ready to go in a couple seasons.
Yeah, and ideally, if he turns into Saquon Barkley, then someone's going to pay him. Like, he got paid eventually. He reset the whole deal.
Yeah.
Like, so if Jeremiah Love is who they think he is, then he, outside of injury, he's going to make his money. He's going to get paid by somebody at some point, whether it's the team that drafts him or somebody else. So, yes, I'm with you on I would hate to expose my first-round running back or my top 7 running back in years where he's taking a lot of hits and a lot of carries and a lot of wear and tear, and we're not going anywhere. Like, I can't, unless I can saddle up this running back and ride him to greatness, I'm with you. It's a very tough call.
Yeah.
But you say he hasn't gone to Tennessee?
He's got him going 4 to Tennessee, man.
That's a point on where they're feeling like that would be, if they pair him with that quarterback who they feel they have a future with, that would make it very tough on defenses. And so he's got the talent. He's a top 5 running back talent-wise. So if he can turn into that before the end of his rookie contract, then he'll have something. It's scary. There's no doubt. I wouldn't doubt if my Vikings would be tempted to come up. It'd be something they would do. Like, they've got Kyler Murray now, and they kind of need a running back at this point like him. And you start thinking about that offense with Kyler Murray and Justin Jefferson and Addison and him in the backfield and Kyler, like,
I don't know if you guys need that right now. I think you guys got enough firepower there. I kind of like your running backs, too. I like Jordan Mason. And plus, what would you have to give up to get him, too? Do you want to give that up? The future draft capital?
I don't, but it's
come
something
up
they
to the
would
top
do.
5?
I feel like they would do it if they thought he was certainly a can't-miss game changer.
It doesn't sound like teams are going to move off that spot, for whether you're Tennessee or the Giants or the Commanders or whoever that's picking in that top 7. Like, I feel like those teams up there have their eye on him. And so rounding out the top 7 for Mel Kiper, Carnell Tate in his final mock drafts going to Washington at 7, Reuben Bain at 8, and then at 9, he's got the Chiefs taking Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State. And so there's a lot of talk early in the offseason like, oh, my goodness, Kansas City, if they could get their hands on Jeremiah Love, they'd want to add in some offensive spark there. Clearly, Mel Kiper is feeling and probably hearing the same thing, that they may be in the headspace of adding juice on offense. And so they got an aging tight end, obviously, in Travis Kelce, right? Like, can you rely on Rashee Rice anymore with all the kind of off-the-field stuff that seems to pop up? And Xavier Worthy isn't a number 1 in the league. So Jordan Tyson, the question is just the injuries. And then at 10, he's got the Bengals drafting Mansour Delane, the cornerback out of LSU.
I thought Xavier Worthy would be more than a gadget guy until his own player KO'd him, and then it was just
Kelce, right?
Yeah, and then it seems like it's kind of gone south since then.
He's a valuable piece to your offense, but he is not that, hey, on third down, everybody in the building knows it's going to this guy, and he's still going to make the play. So I think if Jordan Tyson, obviously they believe he can, or Mel Kiper thinks he can be that, you pair those guys together, and I think you can probably still get the best out of Xavier Worthy.
All right, we're going to come back, and if you haven't heard the head coach of the Jackets after the final game last night, we'll play it for you again. The emotions that were running over, they were in motion last night. What does it mean? You'll hear it next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hey, it's Austin Ward. Listen to The Beat with Austin and Byrne, now powered by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Get the latest Buckeye news, insights, and unbeatable analysis every day. Don't miss a moment. Stream The Beat with Austin and Byrne, sponsored by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
I love Right Pack Credit Union because they're solution driven. I feel valued as a member.
They're focused on the latest technology and the personal connections.
Experience benefits that go beyond banking with Right Pack Credit Union. Just ask our actual members.
I definitely recommend Right Pack to all my family and friends as a credit union of choice.
Visit one of our Columbus area Right Pack Credit Union member centers near you. Based on individual members' experiences, results may vary.
It's never a bad time to fire up the grill. At Billiards Plus, the grilling season never ends. While you're grill shopping, you'll love browsing Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hey Central Ohio, it's Andrew from Home Team Solutions, and yes, we buy houses for cash the easy way. We've been buying houses for over 20 years and we've seen it all. Whether you've inherited a property, you're behind on payments, the house needs work, or just want to avoid the hassle of listing, we've got you covered. No repairs, no clean out, no stress, just a fair cash offer and you pick the closing date. We've helped hundreds of homeowners sell fast and hassle-free, and we're proud to have 5-star reviews all across Central Ohio and an A+ rating with the BBB. If you're ready to sell your house the easy way, call Home Team Solutions at 614-962-SELL. That's 614-962-7355, or visit us online at selltohometeam.com. Home Team Solutions, local, trusted, and family-owned. Again, that's 614-962-SELL. 614-962-7355 or selltohometeam.com.
There is nothing more meaningful you can do for yourself, your family, and friends than finally getting rid of that pain so they can enjoy that time with you again, especially heading into vacation season. Here, let me help you. It's Bobby Carpenter, and Dr. Tesner and his team at QC Kinetics take care of your pain in the office so you can go right along with your day. It's that easy. So if you say yes to any of these questions, you're the kind of patient QC Kinetics regenerative treatments can help every day. I have consistent pain in my joint, knees, hips, shoulder, back. Pain keeps me from getting a good night's sleep. I'm missing work or saying no to things that I love. I don't want surgery or a long-term recovery. I am at the end of my rope, and taking medications every day is just going to get me through the day. I don't want to do it anymore. So if you want to do that, go check out your free consultation over with my friends at QC Kinetics in Dublin or Gahanna. Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. They have offices in Dublin and in Gahanna.
Sometimes, tough times are a test, a chance to prove ourselves. Colleen O'Donnell proved her grit in Laredo, Texas, when she served as an immigration judge and faced the worst of the worst: human smugglers, gang members, dangerous people. Colleen ordered them to be deported, never granted asylum once, and enforced the law to the letter. Now, Ohio needs tough leadership on the bench, so Colleen O'Donnell's running for Ohio Supreme Court as a constitutional conservative with 10 years of prior judicial experience. Ohio Right to Life PAC endorses Colleen for her devotion to our conservative values. America's toughest immigration sheriff, Richard Jones, endorses Colleen O'Donnell for her dedication to public safety. And the Ohio leaders we trust support Colleen O'Donnell for her unwavering loyalty to the rule of law and the Ohio State Constitution. The grit to lead, the experience to succeed. Colleen O'Donnell for Ohio Supreme Court.
Paid for by O'Donnell for Ohio.
Common Man has hosted shows with radio royalty, Spielman, Tor, T-Bone, just to name a few. So listen to his new show with Timmy Hall. If man can pull this one off, he's a miracle worker. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly sunny skies for us today with highs in the mid-80s and breezy winds. And then as we head into the evening, we'll see chances of showers and storms develop, some which could be on the stronger side. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with lows in the 60s. We will see storms and even showers possible the second half of your Thursday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with highs around 80 degrees. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Catch the latest from the world of Ohio State athletics. Weeknights at 6 on the Buckeye Show. New special guests in everything scarlet and gray. The Fan. Rothman and Ice present Pre-Snap Reads.
sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP.
No matter what you think about last night and Bones at the podium and getting emotional and calling out his guys and saying that losing doesn't bother them and I've got to change the culture if I'm the guy to do that. No matter what you think of that, I thought it was genuine but a little ill-timed. I think it was a little too much to expect, but I'm not him. And I'm not the guy that may have the job next year who wants to draw the line in the sand and put everybody on guard when they go into the offseason, that if I am the guy to lead this team, that crap changes. I don't care if it's game 82 or game 22. Yeah. You're playing it to play and win. I think it's unrealistic based on the gut punch they took being eliminated and Washington feeling the same. Now, I would have been all on board with it if the Jackets were eliminated and Washington had something to play for, and you decided to just gift them a win.
Right.
Now, I didn't see that last night, but I didn't think either one of the teams was going to out-physical the other one based on their going into the offseason. You can blame them for that. You can hold them accountable for that, which he's going to. He called it embarrassing last night. I called it being a realist, that the team that faltered at the end in whatever, the analogy I made was a boxer, a heavyweight boxer in a 15-round fight, and he got TKO'd in round 14, and they said, fight ain't over. And like, wait a minute, you just counted me out. This is a 15-round fight. Yeah. We don't care if you lost. You get in there and you fight round 15 like it's the start of the fight. I think that's unrealistic. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not him, and I know where he was going with this. It hurt him. I think he felt disrespected. I think he felt they owed it to themselves a little more to run through the tape of the marathon and not walk to the finish. Yeah. But he's trying to set a tone in my mind for next year's camp. This is summer prep. Everybody's on guard. I don't think he was planning on saying it. I think the opportunity presented itself. Let's hear it again.
I think you've been a part of a lot of games and a lot of seasons. Have you ever been part of something that's as frustrating as this has been down the stretch?
No. And you know what? All you got to just look at the stat sheet. 3 hits, 23 giveaways. Like, I don't know if I'm back, but if I'm back, I'm changing this culture. These guys, they don't care. Losing is not important enough to them. It doesn't bother them. Like, how can you go out and play like that? Should have done this about a month ago. But this is why we are where we are. This is why we're at the playoffs. That kind of effort. Losing, you have to hate losing. I don't care if it's a meaningless game. I don't care. Show up and compete. 3 hits, 23 giveaways. What else you want to know?
You reached them for so long after you got here. How did it stop? Where did it stop?
Because it got tough. Because it got hard. Like we talked about after the Olympic break. It's going to get harder. So everything's good as long as it's going their way. And now it gets tough, we don't want to battle back. And that's what's happened over the last a couple weeks. That's all that's happened. We're going to change that. If I'm back, I don't know if I'm back. Don and I will talk. We'll get to that. But man, oh man, some of those guys are so lucky the season's over and there's no practice tomorrow. Anyways, there's no more games. What else you want to know?
I think even in the long history of this franchise, I don't think they've ever lost 6 games in a row to end a season at home.
No.
Is that worse?
It's terrible. Inexcusable. If they're not embarrassed by, not only tonight, by that, they're on the wrong team. They are. They got to be embarrassed with that. Anything else?
I want to give him this, AR. We've seen plenty of athletes, coaches, after games where the game doesn't end well, step to a podium and a mic and have moments like that where they're emotional, right? I'm sure this was been snowballing to a certain degree for him. We talked to Z earlier, and Z said he talked to Coach today. And this is a miss on me because I should have asked him, what was the tone and the vibe of Rick today versus last night? I wonder if Rick goes to bed last night, when the emotion calms a little bit, and did you still feel that same level of fire from him today? Because I think it can be hard over time to watch a team as a coach not check the boxes you want to check, but also have to filter yourself with your emotion throughout the process. And last night he felt like, I don't need to do that anymore. And so, look, it was one of the best quotes I've heard from a coach in a while, because I think it's real. Like, that's authentic emotion from a coach. Clearly called out some guys on the team. He used the word some. He did not say all when it comes to some of those guys are lucky we don't have practice tomorrow. And so that's what's going to be interesting moving forward, is the roster construction and the blending of worlds when it comes to what Rick wants, what Dean wants, and all the other decision makers. But Z also let us know, and this is the vibe I got, AR, that some guys didn't love that comment. And I can understand why, as a competitor, where you hear your coach calling you out and your competitiveness and your care for the result of what we do.
Yeah, and they cannot like it. I think that's his whole point. My whole point is I hope they don't like it. That they don't have, I'm seeing it through my eyes as the coach. So it might have been a little mistargeted, and the phrase I used was ill-timed, and he even admitted I should have done this a while ago. He didn't have to do it a while ago. Things were going fine. He started coaching them harder. Things were getting tough.
Yeah.
And he did not like the way his team responded. How can you? 2-7-1.
Nothing
They weren't going to lose their way into the playoffs,
right.
And that's what happened. You know, he's certainly taking blame for that, but he's the one that took them on the miraculous ride. But he inherited them. They got the bump. Things were going great, and they felt they could beat anybody in the league. And maybe at times they could have. And then some things happened along the way. They blew some leads again. And maybe something crept in, whether it was identity or the chemistry in losing, that you only find out when you're losing. And he didn't like the way it was constructed when they were losing. Thought this is almost, in a weird way, telling his team, you're a bunch of front runners. It's only good when things are good. You can't respond when things are bad. They did respond. They rescued a game at Detroit that was done. It was over. And they rescued it. They couldn't parlay that into a win against Boston or whatever. Like, they won at the Bell Center, and the same thing. I think that was the Boston game after that. But everything's a little bit of a blur. But I would tell you that it doesn't excuse what happened, but it doesn't really go to last night for me. I think last night, to your point, was just kind of the nail in the elimination coffin. It was the final one that said something has to change, because my guys, even though they were eliminated, didn't feel like that they had to, quote, finish strong. I think it's overrated. I think if they won last night, nothing truly changes. I think if they won last night and they were the ones to get the second goal and not the Caps, does he go to the podium and say exactly the same thing if they win an ugly game? Maybe.
Not.
Well, maybe not to that effect.
Yeah,
but he's probably feeling it.
Yeah.
That they got away with one.
Yeah.
The fact that they lost created an opportunity that he probably didn't plan, but got emotional about. And I like that. He's a coach that cares. And he's not a coach that's going to have to coach scared, not at his age and not this point in his career. The only thing that doesn't bring him back, in my mind now, is if he wakes up next week and says, that took way too much out of me. I can't give of myself that. I can't go through that again. Or he says, I want to go through that again because I'll have a full camp and a full runway to set my team and roster. And if my GM agrees to changes I want to implement and changes he wants to implement, we're on the same page, then, because Don's going to say, this is your group. And if he says this is your group, he might say, no, it's somebody else's group because I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm back. Going back to my boat.
Yeah, so that's really what this is about. There's only so many changes you truly can make. I was talking about if they can get short-term deals and overpay a little bit to keep some guys that he wants, whether that's Marchment or Coyle or Boone, and it's not a long-term commitment where the contract doesn't age well. Don's smart. He's been around. He's not going to do anything detrimental just to try to bridge off the 92-point season.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear, too, because Z kind of hinted that maybe some guys were a little frustrated by that comment. He also said that guys enjoy playing for him, too. So it's emotional right now for everybody. And I think then the coming days and the coming weeks, everybody will have a clearer view of what they want this to look like when the emotion settles. And I think everybody can come back together and figure out where they want to take this thing moving forward.
Good Branson said, and who knows what's going to happen with him. He said, everyone has mirrors in their house, and at the end of the day, you want to win. It may be less here than Calgary or Vancouver, but you got to deal with yourself and expectations you have for yourself. Like, I don't know whether he may not be happy here. I don't know. That's good then. Then he'll have to weed these guys out the way he wants.
Wait, what was the quote again? What was that?
Everyone has mirrors in their house. At the end of the day, you want to win. I assume that means that everyone does look in the mirror. And he goes, it may be less here than Calgary or Vancouver, but you got to deal with yourself.
So is he questioning? Is he echoing what Rick was saying about winning and losing?
I don't know. I don't really. These are all words. And I'm not saying they're real.
So he's saying in Vancouver, their desire to win is higher than here. I don't know how. That's how I read that. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's emotion. I think it's day after emotion.
I don't like that if that's what he's doing.
It's the coach calling out. I don't know. Maybe he knows he's not going to get the deal
back.
Yeah, maybe he knows. Maybe it's easier.
It's a little parting on the way out.
Listen, they all did exit interviews, so maybe some went better than others.
That's an interesting quote for sure.
But it is all, I mean, the buzzwords fly around right now.
Yeah.
That you got to hate losing more than you like winning. And like, maybe that is real for some guys. Maybe that is. I'm not really positive on this whole culture feel that he talked about today. And it may just be a couple things. And here's the other thing that we have to remember. This may not be just a result-based of the season thing. There may have something happened. He walked in. Somebody was doing this. Somebody's doing that. Maybe he didn't feel the seriousness. Maybe there was something that triggered him. I'm not saying it happened. I wouldn't know. But I remember that scene in Moneyball where Billy Bean comes in and they're dancing around. And he looks and says, what are you doing? What are you having fun for? Is losing fun?
Yeah.
And what are you having fun for? I know it's a movie, but it might have a tinge of that there was a little too much casual nature for him in the Ovi exhibition final skate game.
Sure.
That just lit his fuse, man, and he unloaded. All right, we'll come back with Schefty in 2 minutes. There's probably only one lock. We'll ask him about it next. Rothman Ice on the Fan.
Austin Ward here, fired up for warm weather, golf season, longer days, more time outside. Ride the momentum and finally drop the weight you keep saying you will. With Awaken 180, it's fast, easy, and we're all proof that it works. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Aetna was there for me as I was going through a rough medical patch this year. I had peace of mind, which helped with my healing.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with the latest in online tools for easier access to healthcare. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
With the first pick of my favorite places in Columbus, I choose Hollywood Casino Columbus. The draft is coming up. 4 in the top 10. Oh, man, is this draft going to be fun. So much fun, we need to throw a party. Scotty Vegas here, and come to the sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus on Thursday, April 23rd for the draft. We're going to have contests, prizes, and best bets. See you at 7 on Thursday, April 23rd. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house. It's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Rothman Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
NFL Playbook with ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Sponsored by the Roofing Guys. For all your roofing, siding, and gutter needs, contact the Roofing Guys at theroofingguys.com.
All right, it's that time of the week, and we are closing in on the NFL draft. And the man who maybe has some answers for us, or at least a good feeling, is our guy, Adam Schefter, the senior insider for ESPN. My man, how we feeling?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Anthony?
Really good. Thank you for asking. We have questions. I know there's no way for you to know all the answers, but there's been a lot of stuff thrown around, and I'll start with this. This Jeremiah Love hype train seems to be kind of moving up the tracks a little bit. I guess I'll ask it this way. Is there a ceiling for him in this draft? Is there somewhere that you'd say, okay, he can go this high? And then do you feel like there are other teams that could try to trade up and get him?
Yeah, I think his range is anywhere from 3 to 7. I don't see him going number 2. I don't see him going later than 7. Somewhere in that 3 to 7 range, to me, he's going to go in this draft. Like, many people consider him to be the best player in the draft. We'll see how that works out. But, yeah, he's going to be a high pick. He's going to be a top 10 pick. I don't see him getting past Washington. I just don't know if he makes it to Washington.
Okay, so that's interesting because 3 is Arizona, 4 is Tennessee, 5 the Giants, 6 the Browns, 7 the Commanders. So
right, that's strange.
Who would, but not necessarily one of those teams, right? Would there be a team that might want to come up? A team that maybe you've heard or rumors of a team trying to get up and maybe trade with Washington or higher to get him?
I don't see that. I don't see a team that's up that's going to be able to come up high enough to get him. I just don't see that. Like Kansas City signed Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP.
Right.
I don't see. I would have said them, but not now. I don't see Cincinnati coming from. That's not a Bengals-like move. I don't see Miami. They need to accumulate assets. Dallas. Dallas wants defensive help. Like, who else? Who's coming up to go get Jeremiah Love? Who's going to be able to come up high enough to do that? I just don't see it.
Maybe my Vikes.
Nah.
Well.
They have Grayson. They have Aaron Jones. Like, you're not going to mortgage all these things for a running back. I don't think.
Okay. Schefty, you brought up the Bengals, and I wanted to get your thoughts on something that Orlando Brown Jr. said, because there's the whole Dexter Lawrence situation going on, and can you update us on that? But he hinted at, hey, how good he would look in orange and black. So kind of two-pronged here. Dexter Lawrence and the Giants, are they any closer to figuring out their situation? And if not, would you expect the Bengals to be sniffing around that situation and, I guess, be willing to give up whatever draft capital necessary to acquire a player like that?
Well, here's the interesting part. Look, the Giants and Dexter Lawrence are no closer to solving their contractual standoff and disagreement. So it's a case where, to me, look, the Giants don't want to trade him, but they're struggling to sign him. I think that they've got to get it resolved one way or another here in the next week. Because if you're going to trade him, this would be the time to do it. Now, in this draft, there aren't a lot of defensive tackles. That's not the strength of the draft. So, do I see the Bengals giving up the 10th pick in the draft? I don't see that. I just don't see that happening. Could I see the Bengals making – it's not a Bengals-like move to make. They're not usually active trading-wise. Doesn't mean they couldn't do it. He absolutely would help, but that has not been their DNA. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
What about I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Would it make sense? Yeah. Is it going to happen? I'm not seeing it, but let's see.
The other projected trade, and these are fun to think about, is the Browns and whether or not they can continue to stockpile. And they're in a pretty good spot at 6. And certainly they could get a very good player, but they could tempt somebody to come up and give them certainly more picks and then make this march towards whatever they're going to try the rebuild with their new stadium in Brook Park in a few years and all that. Would you see the Browns? Have you heard anything about the Browns being tempted by moving off of 6?
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be look, here's the deal. There are a lot of teams that want to move back. That's not if you ask most teams this year, I would say the majority would be open to moving back. But again, I come back to this. Who's willing to move up? That's the question. Tell me the teams that you can find who are going to basically be willing to give up enough comp to move up, especially when the 2027 draft is considered to be so strong. So I just, look, are there going to be trades on draft night? I'm sure there will be. There always are. There were 5 last year. There were the 5 the year before. On draft night, probably see a few more. But it's fun to talk about these things. I just don't know how many of them we're actually going to see when there are far more teams that want to move back than there are teams willing to move up.
So let's talk about Ruben Bain, because there was a story that came out over the weekend about an incident, off the field that happened a couple years ago. So I guess the combination, Schefty, of that situation and the arm length thing that's kind of been hovering over his head. Do you think those two things are going to affect his draft status when we get to next Thursday? Any type of slide coming, or do you think he's beyond both of those right now?
Well, the ultimate answer will come next Thursday night, right? I always feel like there's always a lot of talk, and one of the things that I love most about the draft is it's no more talk, it's action. We get to see what teams really think. Now, I do think that I've always thought that Ruben Bain will be a top 12 pick here. That's what I've always thought. I know most people have him in the top 10, and that's probably right. Do I think that the latest news report that came out over the weekend is going to impact him? I don't think it's going to impact him a ton. Could it impact him a few slots? It could. It could. Teams have known about it. Their security teams have been on it. They've done their diligence into it. None of that was a surprise to anybody in the NFL. Now, the question is, if you're a team and you're going to draft him and you're going to have to answer questions about that, are you all right with that? And do you have an explanation that is suitable to an accident in which a woman lost her life? It's a serious situation. So, teams obviously have to take it very seriously, consider it. But from a football standpoint, I don't believe it's going to impact his stock terribly. I don't think we're going to see a slide from him. I don't think we're going to see a slide, but we'll find out Thursday night.
Adam Schefter with us on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. So is the lock of all locks Mendoza at 1? Nothing's changing that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Now let's move on to Ty Simpson. Your best guess on who drafts him?
That's the $1 million question right now. And it's hard to find the spot. I still think when we look at the Jets at 33, first pick in the second round, and the Cardinals at 34, second pick in the second round, I think those are 2 logical landing spots. I'm not telling you it's going to happen, but I think those are 2 logical landing spots. Now,
but slipping out of the first, though.
Well, yeah. First pick, second pick, second round. Slipping, that's certainly possible. Absolutely. I'm not. Now, look, we may see a team, one of those teams that says, you know what, it's worth it to trade back up. There are enough teams that want to trade back. We'll go to 28, 29, 30, whatever the number is. We'll get the guy, the quarterback, get a 5-year option, because if all players picked in the first round, you get 4 years under contract and a 5-year option, and if the 5th-year option pays off on a quarterback, you're saving yourself a lot of money over time, a lot. If it doesn't, you missed. So that might be worth it for a team to come up if they like it much. Or you might want to just sit there and take them at 32, 33, 34, whatever it is, and go from there. We'll see how that – again, at this time last year, we were talking about Shedeur Sanders, where he was going in the first round, and look what happened.
Yeah.
So you just don't know until you get into that moment and see how it unfolds.
So the Philadelphia Eagles continue to make moves in their wide receiver room, right? Bringing in Hollywood Brown, trading for Wicks from Green Bay. And it just seems like, Schefty, that we're just headed down this path of they're trading A.J. Brown. I know what Howie Roseman is saying, but I just can't help but follow their actions at this point. And so it just seems like that's where it's headed. Am I wrong in thinking that way?
No, I think that's logical. To me, it's a situation where, they keep adding wide receivers, not subtracting. And as long as they're adding, every time they add one, whether it's Hollywood Brown or Elijah Moore or Dontavian Wake, people are going to ask the question. The door's open to the trade. I mean, The door's open. And I said it on SportsCenter yesterday. It's not what Howie Roseman is saying, like, A.J. Brown's. It's what he's not saying. He hasn't said, we are not trading A.J. Brown. He's not said that, right?
Not yet.
No, because it's all on the table right now.
It seems to be that time of year. I love that. I love it because we get to talk about it all before it actually happens, and we get to do our guessing along with you and everybody else. So have a great rest of the day and week, and we'll talk to you from Pittsburgh, hopefully.
All right, guys, look forward to next Wednesday. Have a great week. And, yes, we will speak to you from the Draft City itself one day before the event next week.
You got it. That's our boy, Adam Schefter, ESPN Senior NFL Insider on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We come back with Tell the Truth, Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Sun, splashes, and nonstop fun await at Zoombezi Bay.
Get your season pass for unlimited thrills,
including our all-new conservation tower. Buy now at ZoombeziBay.com.
Parents, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Go for it.
We're listening.
Yeah.
Are your teens good with money?
She's a good kid,
she's the
but
best,
yeah.
but
I get it. Switch to Huntington Bank, and your teen debit card can really help.
Oh?
You can set spending limits, and your kid can track budgets, so they learn that money doesn't, in fact, grow on trees.
I think we need this.
Sounds good, yeah.
We feel you, parents. Let's get more from teen banking. Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
The new Omaha Steak Store is now open at 1033 Polaris Parkway at Polaris Commons. Stop in today and save 50% store-wide on legendary steaks, burgers, and more. Plus, get doorbuster deals starting at just $19.99. Discover the Omaha Steaks difference today at the new store at Polaris Commons in Columbus.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Get Eco.
Hey, Jerry. Remember when we launched our $93 drain clearing offer and you invented the phrase 93 or free?
You know, I've actually written quite a few catchphrases in my career.
Oh, yeah. Aren't you the guy who wrote Bob's Your Uncle?
Yep, for my friend Steve, who has an Uncle Bob. I was as surprised as anyone when it caught on with the general public.
Get Eco.
Well, we need 93 or free to catch on. Our experts will clear your clogged household drain for just $93. If we can't, it's free. And we guarantee it'll stay clear for at least a year, or we'll clear it again for free.
Get Eco, and Bob's your uncle, your drains are clear.
Get Eco.
But Jerry, my uncle's name is Michael.
Get Eco, and Michael's your uncle, your drains are clear.
Let's stick with 93 or free.
Yeah, good call.
Get Eco.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Does your Ford need service? At the Capital Ford of Columbus Service Department, our factory-trained technicians use genuine Ford Motor Company parts to keep your vehicle built Ford tough. Get your vehicle serviced right the first time at Capital Ford of Columbus in Whitehall.
Does your HVAC struggle through this rough winter? When it comes to your home comfort, trust the local experts at Columbus Worthington Air. Right now, you can save up to $2,000 on a new HVAC system with our trade-in allowance program. At CWA, we treat your home like it's our own with safe, reliable service backed by our exceptional service guarantee. Columbus Worthington Air and Bryant Heating and Cooling. Whatever it takes. Visit CWAOhio.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 47543.
Is 2026 the year you achieve your health goals? The Good Feet store wants to help. Trade in your bad feet for good feet. We want to help you walk, run, exercise, and play in comfort this year. Visit the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway near the Polaris Mall or on Stringtown Road at Grove City.
Think you know Buckeye football? These two say, hold my beer. The Beat with Austin and Berm.
Sponsored by the Waterworks.
Daily on the Fan's YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Tell the truth with Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by McDaniel GM Superstore. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
All right, TLC, it's been a robust show today.
Yeah,
so we're going to hand you the baton and let you run through the tape. What do you got?
Well, actually, I'm going to hand the baton right back to you. I'll just wind you up.
I'll drop
and
it.
let you go. Tell the truth. Would it break your heart if Live Golf disappeared?
Break my heart. I'd be throwing a party. Like, that would be such a victory for me. And how taking away all the political stuff, the funded by the Saudis and buying all that, washing that money over here, like taking that out of it. It was never for me. Now I'm more of a traditionalist. I didn't like shotgun starts and 54-hole events and
shorts
and the jorts and music blaring and acting like this is professional golf. It never came off that way to me. I'm proud to say, hey, proud's the wrong word. I'm honest enough to say I never watched it. It just didn't appeal to me, and it's not because it was some silent protest. It was just. It never really appealed to me.
It was a vocal protest.
I always thought that the tradition of the tour events were tremendous, and that's what these guys were playing for. But the team, by the way, the team concept, the unis, well, that felt like a joke to me. Like you tried to create some emotion, attachment to this team, that team, those, and I just don't think it was going to work in an individual sport. They were trying to do that, so
it was always curious to me how much runway they had. I was never surprised by the money grabbing aspect of it from the players out of the gate. When you were guaranteeing the tens of millions of dollars to Phil and Bryson and Koepka and all these guys, like that to me just wasn't surprising. Like a lot of people aren't going to say no to that money, but to your point, it never felt wholesome enough to really put a dent in the shield of the PGA Tour for a long time. And so this is a win for you. This is a win for all the traditionalists when it comes to golf.
Revenge.
Now you can snap your fingers like Thanos, and they're going to dissolve away, man.
Well, you said you weren't sure about the runway. Everybody thought that the runway was endless because the money would never dry up. And no matter how much it didn't get ratings or it didn't move the needle, you felt like, well, there was no reason for them to wave the white flag because their motivation was different. It wasn't truly to make money.
Well, I guess the people that were cutting the check, they felt like with the lack of ratings and all that stuff, is it worth it to still spend all this money? And I guess we're at a point now to where the answer to that is no. And so I'm not going to miss it at all. It was out of sight, out of mind. All the time for me anyway.
In case you don't know, there's a report that the Live Golf League is kind of under this threat now of done. Close it out. Shut it down now. Because whatever that fund is, the PIF fund is going to go away. So that's when most things go away. When the money attached to it not dries up, but they don't want to spend it anymore. But Listen, I don't think it's official yet, but if Saudi Arabia's PIF fund is on the verge of basically clipping the cord on the money, then I guess those guys can say, well, it was great while it lasted, and whatever I got, I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
Ice, you played.
It's National Laundry Day. Do you wait and do all of your laundry at once, or do you chip away a little bit at a time?
I think I'm more of a chip away guy because I don't like AR.
Chips Ahoy?
They're too crunchy.
We know
for
you're
me.
not the Chips Ahoy
I don't like the crunchy
guy.
chocolate chip cookie. You a crunchy cookie guy? I can't do that. Got to be soft, moist cookies.
You don't like them too soft. That's but
I mean, hey, I was a kid. I used to smash cookie dough, so I guess it really didn't matter. But crunchy cookies, those scared me, man. No, but I like to break it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Have the towels and washcloths and all that stuff in one load, and the socks and the drawers and the whites. Like, you got to break it up. You can't have, at least I don't want to say you can't have. I don't like to have everything in one.
Yeah, no, I'd put it off as long as possible. It's drudgery. Like, it's the last thing I'd ever want to do.
But you've only got a 6-man rotation, so how's that working out?
That's on the seventh day the Lord rested, and Anthony did laundry. That's how that happens. I feel like
that's where you exhaust the innings eater.
That's
as Rothman once called it.
That's right. When you get a guy,
oh God, he's like the guy AR that's like early in a series where you're trying to save your bullpen, and he just got to run after run after run.
No, he might be playing a bullpen game that day, and just every hour.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, sometimes a guy's got to throw on short rest. On Sunday, if I'm not doing laundry and he pitched on Saturday, he's got to go.
I can never complain about a studio being musty. I've been doing shows with you for years.
See, I perfected it.
What Tord say one day in the press? This room reeks of BO.
I had it in my system.
I put you on the spot.
Oh, wait. I got it. Let's end the show this way. I got it. Oh, wait. Hang on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'll tell you right now, this room smells of BO.
That's never happened, AR, so I cannot complain. Hey, that was Tell the Truth for today. You missed anything from our show, and AR mentioned it at the beginning of the segment. It was a fun show. We talked to Zack Werenski at 12:30. Matt Light, the 3-time Super Bowl champ with New England, stopped by for a few segments. You missed all that stuff. You can always catch up wherever you get your podcast. Just type in Rothman Ice. Everything we do from noon to 3 will be waiting there for you. Subscribe to the podcast as well. Common Man and Timmy coming up next. Nicole Sheeran stops by at 3:30. Jeff Rimmer joins the fellas at 5:30.
All right. Enjoy your afternoon. Keep your hands inside the ride at all times, and we will talk to you tomorrow at high noon on a Thursday. Thanks for listening. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
I don't know if you've ever had a partially torn oblique.
No hot takes, no dancing, plenty of stupid. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.